a day that shall live in infamy. Yeah.
December 7th. It's the day of infamy.
Yes.
For Elder Ephraim,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're recording this on December 7th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not 1941.
1941. I was going to see if you could do the transatlantic. Did FDR have a transatlantic? John F. Kennedy?
I think sometimes, yeah, they would do that when they would broadcast something. It's kind of like a formal speaking voice.
Yep.
They'd put it on, but like nobody talked like that normally, as far as I understand.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually,
I've listened to some of JFK speeches. We are followers from around the world, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so St. Nicholas feast for the new calendar.
Right. Yes.
And then because Elder Ephraim reposed in 2019, we celebrate that on the same day.
Yes.
Which can be confusing, right? How sometimes we kind of cross over. So,
right.
But welcome back.
Yes. Vigilantly Orthodox.
Episode.
I forget.
We're close. We're at 7, 8, 9,
7 or
10.
8. Yeah, something.
December 7th. That would make sense if we were on 7, but we may be further than that. So, let's see. We just crossed. We had our Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Akathist is a molybdenum. Either or.
There's a moleben, which is like a special prayer for a specific purpose. This was an Akathist.
Okay. Yeah. So we'd like to chat about that. We had the presentation of Our Lady. We just celebrated that.
Yes.
We have St. Nicholas up here. We're old calendar.
Yeah.
So we still have another 12 days now.
Yeah.
For good old Saint Nick.
Yeah.
So maybe we can chat a little bit about the real Saint Nick. The heretic slapping, sea calming, miracle working, all kinds of different things. If you can remember,
Bishop of Myrna. Yeah.
Like Catholic stealing his body ish. No.
Yeah.
It's in the Akathist. I have the Akathist, and it frames it as a good thing because it's getting away from Turks and stuff. But I don't know if you've looked into that. The research I've seen, the people were like not that happy about him taking his relics. Right. Are you familiar?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's relic theft and these weird heists that would happen where people would steal relics of saints, bring them to other places.
Well, I asked ChatGPT, and it's like, well, his relics were moved because it was funny. Taylor Marshall had said about going to see his kids to see St. Nicholas.
Yeah.
And it was, I think he's in Italy. Makes sense somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I went down that rabbit hole. I'm like, well, wait a minute. He was in Myria. That's in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Why is his body in Italy? And then I went down that rabbit hole of, it was 1,000. Does that sound about right? I think there was some type of Turkish invasion in the Middle East. And then these Catholics came in, and I think the monks at the monastery were like, we need this here. And they're like, we're taking this because there are Turks coming.
Right.
Because in the Akathist, it says like through divine intervention, your relics removed. But to my understanding, a lot of the historians are like, because I asked ChatGPT, I go, were these pirates? They're like, they were on ships and they took something without asking. I'm like, sounds like pirates to me.
Sure. Yeah, that sort of thing is tricky because I understand like when you have like enemy armies coming, you kind of wonder like, well, do you want to just get rid of all your holy things and move them, or do you want to stay by them and trust in their protection?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's weird.
I'm not holy enough to know.
Yeah.
We're laughing about that with discernment, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Right.
So but yeah, so we have a couple different topics. Do you want to maybe start with the Thanksgiving Akathist?
Yeah.
From what little bit we say it every Thanksgiving.
Right. Yeah. The Akathist of Thanksgiving, which its actual title is Glory to God for All Things. And that's a phrase from St. John Chrysostom when he was dying in exile. This Akathist is attributed to Metropolitan Tryphon of Turkmenistan. No,
it's something with a T.
Turk. Yeah, I think it's like Turkestan. But he was a priest and he was a prince, born as a prince. He was a noble, and he became a bishop, and he was even like a vicar bishop in the Moscow patriarchate area. He a very pious person as far as I understand. The one thing that's kind of controversial about him is, and this is, we do this all the time when we do our in the Great Litany, in every liturgy where the deacon prays for the civil authorities. That wasn't and like the rulers of our country and that sort of thing. That wasn't after, the assassination of Tsar Nicholas and everything.
Yeah. They're like, we're going to take that out, or what?
Well, they didn't have it there in the first place because they would just pray for the king or the Tsar, or because it might be kind of odd for a lot of people, but this whole like democracy, non-monarchy thing is pretty new.
Yeah.
It's barely 100 years old at this point.
Yeah, in Russia, what you're saying.
The
whole
European
idea, right?
stuff,
you're hinting at that from the Roman Empire, the real Roman Empire, the height of the Roman Empire, it was always church and state.
Yes.
At the same time, versus now we're America, we're Freemate, we're not Christian, right?
No. Yeah.
And I've heard that's why you have the double eagle. And I think, right, wasn't it I think in the first sacking or attacking of Constantinople when they lost in 14 something, that was it one of the Rus married one of the daughters, and that's kind of like the idea of the continuation of the Holy Roman Empire going into Russia. Have you heard that?
Yeah, the Third Rome, that whole thing.
Yeah. And that's why they have double eagles.
Well,
the double eagles kind of represents the church and state being together,
right? Up
until that's why we're so adamant when we look at the Russian Empire being destroyed. It's like, this is an outright destruction of Christianity.
Yeah.
Because it's the last true country that had an embodiment of Christianity.
Yeah. It was like a how would I say, like a synthesis or symbiosis of church and state rather than this. There was still a separation. You kind of see this. There's, for example, when, and people have memed this situation, but when J.D. Vance, the current vice president of the United States, who's Catholic, when he went to meet the Pope, he didn't go get a blessing from the Pope. He went and shook his hand. And the reason that he did that, people made the joke. They go, "Dap me up, Your Holiness." But
I was Catholic. We never really got blessing. I remember shaking the priest's hands all the time.
That's interesting. Yeah. So that might be a Catholic thing.
Because I remember at the end of church, we would really shake the priest's hand on the way out.
Okay.
Coming Orthodox and getting a blessing was.
Yeah, it's weird to shake a priest's hand
now.
Yeah. in the Orthodoxy. But yeah, I've heard though that part of that is that one, it's sort of like an optics thing where if you are the leader of a country, you don't want to be like
looking submissive.
Right. Or even like that's actually why you'll see in Russia, for example, you'll see when Vladimir Putin greets Patriarch Kirill, he doesn't receive his blessing, but they do the kiss of peace. Right? Okay. And the idea there is that this is like a unity
and that's what priests will do, or bishops of the same rank. They do the kiss of peace instead of getting blessings.
Yeah, it's sort of this equivalent thing. Now, I understand politics are all weird and entwined, and you might hate some of the people we talked about, but the point is
what it is.
Yeah, like the idea, especially you see this the most in the Eastern Roman Empire, often called the Byzantine Empire, even though that's like a pejorative.
Late
1800s is when you have these German historians that start retconning a bunch of stuff. And,
well, I don't know. It's better than probably calling it the Dark Ages. Right?
That's true.
The height of the Roman Empire, folks.
Yeah. But you have the idea that you have Rome is the first Rome, Constantinople is the second Rome, and then Russia, Moscow was like the third Rome,
and then Idaho will be the fourth.
Idaho will be the fourth.
It's funny. I push that. I say like we're gonna read. I told you that joke about the war that ends, and we have a bishop, crowning a king of, the monochrome American Republic. But yeah, I do think there was a couple saints or church fathers who's like, nope, this is the third and last Rome. This is going to be the end of it.
Sure.
But I always make the argument, God gives us these prophecies to call us into repentance.
Yeah.
So let's not lose all hope, folks.
Oh yeah. That doesn't.
America will be the fourth Rome. Yeah.
Despair is like the worst kind of sin. So don't ever give in to despair. Yeah. I think, but yeah, going all the way back to Metropolitan Trifon.
Yep.
Like he approved adding like prayer for the civil authorities and the rulers of Soviet Russia into the Great Litany. That was controversial at the time because people were like, why are we
praying? We're supposed to pray for enemies,
but we should pray for them. Yeah.
And I don't mean that, you know what I'm saying, in that sense. Like it was very I mean, we have that all day, every day throughout all of history. There are people who are put into power and we don't know their heart or their intent. Like we're supposed to pray for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. We should pray for everybody we should honestly pray for everybody we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, more to speak practically, because then I would and this would be a good thing. I would spend all day praying because I know a lot of people. But yeah, we would want, the idea is even if it's people who are against you, you should, bless those who curse you, and you should pray for them, because it's not about like fighting. We're not fighting people. That was even I think in the epistle reading today is like, our struggle isn't against
flesh and
blood, but powers and principalities and these things, these
well, it's a good plug for the shirt I got.
Oh yeah, busted out. This is
what's it say, reader?
All right, that's coming through. It looks pretty good. It says, that's death to the world. It's the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force.
Amen.
Yeah, and that's an image of King David when he's slain Goliath and chopped his head off. It's pretty graphic. I like it. Yeah. As the kids say, it goes hard.
It goes hard. It's based.
Yeah, it is based. It's cool. Yeah. But I think we were talking about that. Just what does that mean?
Yeah.
And there's a ton of interpretation of what does that mean? The kingdom of heaven suffers violence.
And we both went to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Where Aragorn goes to fight the dead or unite them.
Right.
And he said,
to summon them to fulfill their oath. And
what's he say? We suffer no one to pass.
The dead do not suffer the living to pass.
That's right.
You will suffer me. Yeah. So suffer in the old sense of the word doesn't always mean pain. It just is kind of like, we don't allow this thing to happen. So that's what like the King of the Dead is saying to Aragorn.
Like Aragorn's like, I'm here to summon you, and and they're like, we don't let anyone pass.
Yeah,
you're dead.
You're gonna die. Yeah,
and he's
the way is shut.
Yeah,
yeah.
Only the King of Gondor.
Yeah,
he's got the sword.
Yeah, really cool scene. Love that in the movie.
You will suffer me.
It's kind of a harrowing of Hades. Thing.
100%.
Yeah,
you look at that idea and like, how does that play out in society in so many different ways? People dying, people that are locked up in their basement and slowly, the wages of sin destroying someone, right? And then ultimately the hero showing up and uniting them and saying, what are you guys doing, wasting potential?
Calling them out from where they are. And that's what Christ does. It's the, follow me, right?
And he's like, no one can save us, right? We will kill you.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I'm here to get you guys out of this slavery that you're in. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which is cool because they're trapped because they're the oath. Yeah, we're talking Lord of the Rings now.
Yeah.
They are the oath breakers. They swore it like an oath to his ancestor Isildur and failed.
Yep.
And so because of that, they're cursed.
Yeah.
And they even though they're dead, they're stuck in this undeath. They live in the dim alt under the mountain. Yeah.
And they suffer him to pass, right?
Yeah.
Meaning just he can to suffer means to endure, or even just to
allow.
Yeah. So when you say the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, because we went on both ways, we go, well, it actually means that is persecuted, right? We, as being the true church, we suffer violence from the world.
Yeah.
And then when you say the violent take it by force, it's not necessarily a sword. It's fighting our passions.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, if you want the kingdom of heaven, you can't just lazily like mosey your way in there. One does not simply walk into the kingdom of heaven.
Simply does not.
Not
with 10,000 men.
Yeah.
Well, and that's back to that Akathist too, about praying. Like, and it's so, I forget which church father I was reading. I think it was Blessed Theophilact. He is talking about how, pray for your enemies.
Yeah.
And that's easy for you and me right now. To I'm going to pray for this person that's frustrating me. But he's like, no, number one, you're praying for them, but two, it's like when Christ was on the cross.
Yeah.
He's not only he's loving them.
Yes.
Like getting to the place of like, I can't stand this person. They're my enemy. I'm going to pray for them.
Right.
And that's why the Akathist of Thanksgiving is so mind boggling because these guys are in a Soviet camp.
Right.
Being like, all right, we're going
to, horribly.
We're dying. We're starving, but let's pray.
Yeah.
Let's pray and be thankful.
And thank God for everything. Yeah. That is my favorite Akathist, like ever that I've encountered, is the Akathist of Thanksgiving, because it's so beautiful. And it's like, I love how often like it begins. I think it's like, glory to thee for calling me into being. Like it's, and showing me the beauty of the universe. Did we lose feed?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh man. Well, it looks like our audio is still coming in, but yeah.
You can keep talking. I'll get the camera back on.
Yeah, it's just an incredibly beautiful prayer. Yeah. And it really helps you understand gratitude. I like that, you know. Yeah, that's weird.
The devil doesn't like Thanksgiving. He's trying to stop us. Came right in on that. Yeah, you were talking about. Yeah, I agree. That was one of the verse where he's talking about the beauty of experiencing reality.
Yeah.
Like the sun, look at the snow, look at the moon, look at
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's hard for me to even like quote portions of it without getting emotional.
Yeah.
Because it's just
And you think about them suffering in the camp, and then he's like, wow. Look how beautiful the moon is. The snow, this thing that's chilling me to the bone right now and probably causing me to have necrosis, you know, or
hypothermia or whatever.
Yeah.
But because this was, and the story, I need to look up the priest's name because I think it's a proto-presbyter who's the one where they found this this Akathist on his body or like in his personal effects after he died. Proto-presbyter Gregory Petrov.
Is this Romania or Russia? Or?
This is, I'm assuming it just says he was in a gulag and he died in 1940. I think 1940. And so
during World War II.
Yeah, during World War II. And it just says like a work camp. So I don't actually know where this was, but I assume it's in Russia because one, he's proto-presbyter. I doubt he was in Poland, Germany or something. And
well, in Gulag, I mean, obviously, I don't know I don't remember exactly the boundaries of Eastern Europe at that point in Soviet, like what was right. We know Poland existed,
yes,
right, but I don't know how like Romania, Lithuania, and all the Eastern...
they all got gobbled up by the Soviet Union. And so. But it's interesting because you have, I love that if you've also ever read any portions of like the Alexander Solzhenitsyn's like Gulag Archipelago, it's amazing to see how resilient these people were, and not in like a pugnacious, like I'm going to fight back, but more of just they're finding ways to just be content and happy despite like the horrible misery all around them.
Well, and there's a quote, and it's kind of new agey, but it's like the ultimate form of tyranny is not martial law. It's the psychological manipulation of your situation. You know, because we look at slavery and we look at antiquity and say, look how bad they had it, and it's like we have it better than ever. But what do they sell? The I don't want to say the word, the pods.
Oh
in the city and the smart cities, and you see where, we don't live in slavery,
right?
But we're getting to the point where you have to have a cell phone, you have to pay your tax, you have to use the roads, you have to eat the food, you have to, so there is a level of like, I don't want to say what they say, comparison is the theft of joy, but a relativism of looking back. And if someone, I don't mean this in a bad way, but you wonder what they were like psychologically if they were raised on a farm and the middle of Ukraine, and then they're in a camp. Like it's still terrible. But I think we would get messed up way more.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying psychologically, we're so much weaker than they were.
We are so like, another good book I recommend is called On Earth We're Just Learning How to Live.
Okay.
By Priest Valentin. And it's a lot of it's just sort of, it's his life, kind of like a not quite an autobiography, because it's really not about him. It's about all the people that he encounters. So he's born in 1920, I think. But if I remember correctly, he's still alive.
Oh,
so he's like 104 years old or something.
Find him, bring him on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, and but yeah, he it's just like, so his earliest memories are of like the Soviets shoving them out of their village, marching them into the taiga forest up in Siberia. And they even like the Soviets took their coats from them and just left them up there.
Dude, you're just like, what?
Yeah. And they somehow, like, these people survive, and then they start to thrive because they get really good at hunting and trapping.
I wouldn't last like 2 hours without my coat. I did. That's a crazy thing. I can remember, reading what's his Man's Search for Meaning, Frankel, or any of the, it's like, I need my temperature in my house. Like if my temperature in my house, I keep it cold, obviously. It's 64 in here right now, folks. Like we're for most people, like that's freezing.
I love it. It's my favorite.
But you get like, honestly, I've had, once this gets into the 50s, I'm like, this is cold. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't have, like, I'm so not resilient. I think about theophany,
Yeah.
like jumping in the water. And I'm like,
seeing
well,
how they do it in like Siberia, Russia.
Like, I'm gonna train. Like, I'm hopefully this year I'll jump in for theophany, but I'm gonna go to the cold plunge for hopefully 5 or 10 times so I can mentally prepare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yourself in that headspace.
It's like our propensity to being able to take on any form of difficulty is so weak. I feel that way. Like, I can't take a cold shower. I'm like, it's so cold. And you think about them back then, like, okay, we're marching you through the woods. I lost my shoes. Too bad. Keep walking.
Keep walking in the snow barefoot. Yeah.
I think it's in the Gulag. There's a line where the guy, his feet are so full of edema he can't tie his shoes. I don't know if you've heard, and it's like he's like, I woke up and I heard this man crying because he could no longer wear shoes because his feet were so full of edema. And he's like, I reached into my pocket and I had one bit of joy because there was a piece of bread that I left from yesterday and I held that little bit. You know, you're like, what?
Yeah, it's amazing, like the suffering they endured and how they were able to find joy. And like, I have found a crumb of bread in my pocket. Best day ever.
Jonathan Pageau, he actually says that about fasting. He's like, who enjoys their food more, a king that's eating a ribeye steak every night, or the monk who's been fasted for 3 days and then gets a piece of bread?
Yeah,
you know,
seriously. Yeah, and that's something that book showed me. I mean, there's many things in that book and Father Valentin's book, but it very much was like, these people were so resilient. Like, they just they never seemed to despair. Like, there's a moment in that book, to keep talking about it, but where his father was a farmer and owned a farm. And the way the commies did this is so sinister, the way that they work, because they would come to him and go like, oh, well, we're inviting you to bring your farm into the commune.
Oh, thank you.
And he's like, no, thanks. Like, this is my family's farm. He's probably had it for generations and generations. And they're like, well, you really should. This is, the right thing to do and all this. And I don't want to do that.
He said, you can't derive an ought from an is.
Yeah. Right. And so they ended up saying like, well, at this point you're behaving in an
ethical,
like unpatriotic manner. So they arrest him and throw him in a gulag, and they just take his farm and make it part of the commune. And that's basically why they drove everyone out. It was like, well, you've all got to become members of the party and then you can work the farms and stuff. And they're like, no, we don't want to do this. And they're like, oh, why are you making this so hard? Like, all you got to do now we have to take all your stuff and push you into the taiga. Yeah. And so they do that.
Lord have mercy. I laugh at serious things. Forgive me.
Well, sure. It's that weird, sinister, like, you see this a lot in a similar vein in the modern day kind of culture that we have,
for sure. Oh, this is the best thing for you and for the baby.
Yeah. And if you're like, no thanks, they're like, well, why are you being obstinate? You're being unloving.
Yeah, like, your baby's gonna have a terrible life. That's why you should just end it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or any kind of political whatever, like, it's this, oh, you just kiss the ring is all you got to do. And then you just say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not paying lip service to this, or I'm not. Yeah. And then people start getting upset with you.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine when it's like they're giving you the illusion of choice.
Right.
This is what's best for you. You should pick that. And you're like, well, I'm not picking that.
Yeah.
Well, you really should pick that because it'd be good for you. I'm not doing it. Okay, well, now I'm forcing you.
Yeah.
It's like, you've been lying to me the whole time. You were never going to let me choose.
Yeah. This has never been a choice. Like, this is just, you were trying to force my hand, and you want me to pretend that it's my idea too, or that I accept it.
But that's how they do that. Yeah. They have to manipulate you, because they've been manipulated most of the time. So they have to take you and force you into the ideology, because the ideology literally sucks.
Yeah.
And if you're not Christian, especially, because on the other end, it's interesting when I think about those people suffering, I'm like, how, and you're probably like me, I always think about, okay, what happens if they show up? I'm like, well, I'm trying to grab the pistol out of their pocket, and if I, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
you know what I'm saying, out of their holster.
Yeah.
I'm going down then, preferably, because I'm not making it in the camp.
Sure.
And I know that sounds terrible. In a sense, there is some form of that that's kind of suicidal. Like, I've thought about that. Like, if I'm in a camp, I'm like, dude, there's no way I could bear it for more than a week. I'd go insane. I'd do something that I'd regret. Like, I would prefer to try and fight before they get me on the boxcar.
Sure.
Let me go down here now with resistance.
Yeah.
In a form that's kind of like suicide, and it's kind of like the whole zombie apocalypse. How many people are like, you know what? Let them take me.
Yeah.
I'm not, like,
I don't want to have to endure
zombies
living in that.
I'm saying there's kind of a balance there, but it's interesting. at least maybe it's just us modern Americans more than anything to be like, I think most people would pick that. Right. Like I think in America, we said like, if they try and pull another COVID, I think most of us will go down swinging, like depending on how hard it didn't get that far.
Sure.
But it could have. When they
started,
what happens when they start knocking doors? Because I chatted with my friend about that. I'm like, so what, you're resisting. What do you do when they show up at your door?
Yeah.
Like, are you really going to do something? Or like, you're going to, it's that same thing you just said. It's like, well, I'll say no until they force your hand.
Yeah.
Then what? Are you getting in the car?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I don't know. Lord give me mercy.
I don't know either. Like,
but you get what I'm saying from the, like my modern mind is there. And when I look at all those people who willingly went into the camp, like, okay, we'll just go in there and do Thanksgiving Akathist.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can honestly see how the communists are like, are you guys crazy?
Yeah.
I'm putting you in a camp.
Yeah.
And you
took all your stuff.
And you're out here like doing a prayer.
Right.
Where's your God now?
Yeah.
Oh, he's right here. I see him in the moon. I see him in the stars.
Yeah. All around me. All the people like, yeah. The amount of, I'm trying to remember the line specifically. I'm tempted to pull out my phone and
pull it up,
scroll through it.
It's just, can you imagine them being like the higher up being like, all right, round them all up and put them in a camp. And he calls them. They say, how's it going? Sir, they have they're gathered in the courtyard and they're singing praises.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, this isn't how this is supposed to be. They're supposed to be re-educating them. They need to love, which is funny. Again, if you really look at the ideology of them needing to help the state, being more patriotic, it's like they don't believe in any of those things too, right? They like the dissolution of all boundaries and individualism. It's like what we need to help, like their whole purpose is like no division, no race, no ethnicity, like give everything to the state.
Yeah, flatten everything.
But you're still uniting everyone under a principle.
Yeah.
The idea of unity is still a principle.
Yeah. Yeah, this was this is in the fifth ode of the Akathist, the Ecos 5. But there's glory to thee, ceaselessly watching over me, glory to thee for the encounters that thou dost arrange for me, glory to thee for the love of parents, for the faithfulness of friends. Glory to thee for the humbleness of the animals which serve me, glory to thee for the unforgettable moments of life. Yeah, and this is again composed by somebody in a death camp. Yeah. So it's amazing, to think of like, oh yeah, the love of parents, the faithfulness of friends, and all these where your own parents and your friends are probably dying around you.
Or the opposite, your parents or your friends turned you in.
Yeah, or they could turn you in.
Right? During then, I mean, right? They had informers or whatever.
Yeah, no, and that was a big thing in Soviet Russia, was them turning
get a couple people
turning kids against their parents. Yeah.
Get a couple, your parents are evil, right? They're
against the state.
Yeah.
And you see, again, I'm not trying to, the suffering we endure today is nothing compared to what the people under communism did. But you see this with like in a lot of school systems today, of them trying to turn their kids against their parents, or doing the thing where like, oh well, the teachers are doing like, oh well, I think your kid is trans,
your wrong gender,
or all that, and we're going to hide this from the parents.
Yes,
as if like, again, because it's this idea that like, well, your kids belong to the state instead of to their families, right? A horrible, toxic, evil ideology there. But
how do we get there?
Yeah, death by inches, right? Like it keeps coming. Like it's weird to see. I saw this article years ago, but it was about because this was still when Obama was president. But this was the idea that like Russia has kind of become more like America was, and America has become more like Russia was.
100%.
Yeah, and they did a quote from Putin and a quote from Obama. And I think it was the quote from Obama was the one where he was saying like, we are not a Christian nation. Where
you didn't build that. Remember that one? You didn't build that. The state built that.
Yeah, that
was a big one, he said.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
And then you had, Putin saying something Christian, talking about how like the church is like the heart of their nation, something like that. And again, you don't have to like Putin. I'm just saying it's interesting that the mindset is very different. And like, how did we were the ones against this militantly atheistic communist ideology even 50 years ago. Yep. Now we are more like, we're very unfortunately very aggressively stomping down that path.
We elected a communist foreigner mayor in New York.
Yeah.
Like you don't get much further from tradition and that, okay, we're going to have a guy from another country who believes in everything that's against our country, and then we're going to pick him.
Yeah.
What?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's odd.
Yeah. And we have to be thankful for it. You know, like, well, yeah. And again, it's one of those things. Thank you, Lord, for showing us our weakness. I mean, that's honestly what you see. Hopefully it's a warning sign. All these things are prophesizing and showing us we're incomplete.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a beautiful Akathist. If you haven't read it, and I don't know, I wonder, do other churches, have you talked to other, like, I don't know, is that pretty common?
That's pretty common. Most of the Orthodox parishes I know, or have contacts with, they do the Akathist of Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, which is great. And I like that, we did our episode on Halloween, and it's like, Halloween's not an Orthodox holiday. It's actually the whole origin of Halloween is really interesting. But the fact is, like, Thanksgiving technically isn't an Orthodox holiday either, but that's one that are, like, even recently Metropolitan Nicholas, first hierarch of the Russian Church Prod, he brought up like what a great holiday this is, and it's good to give thanks to God for all things. And so it may not be Orthodox in origin, but it's Orthodox in spirit, right?
And unlike Halloween, that is directly contradictory to our faith,
right?
Where things this is a good holiday, and it has fruits that will definitely benefit us. So
forgive me if I repeat myself, but I always like this is what the word holiday.
What is holiday mean?
Yeah,
holy
it's
day.
holy day.
Oh,
yeah. It's just, that's literally what it means in English. It's just, you also have that with God. Goodbye is God be with you, or God be with ye in older English, and it's slowly like morphed and compressed. And so now we say goodbye, and it's funny when people just say bye, because it's like, okay, so you're saying the be with ye part of, but you left God out. That's interesting.
Going with me.
Yeah, right. I mean, and it's not that weird. Like in Spanish, people say adios, which means with God, because the full way to say goodbye in Spanish is vaya con Dios, go with God. So, and then they just say adios, right? But Dios is God.
Dios.
So you see this in most like European languages. Like in Russian, to say thank you is spasiba, which is a compression of spasi Bog, which is God save you. So like when someone gives something to you, you're saying God save you, like for this thing that you've done for me.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. Like there's a ton of that in our own language, like in English even. There's a lot of Christian things that are buried in the words we speak. Like
you know what good morning is, right?
Oh, is this
good? That's because there were people who were mourning because they were slaves.
Oh,
and then the slave owners would tell them, "Hey, good morning."
Did you have were you mourning for your friend?
Yeah,
I remember.
There's multiple plays on that. Someone brought that up. Good morning means like that. Yeah, they're mourning over whatever terrible thing had happened to them.
No, the morning. I'm so tired of that when people just make things up, but then act like it's
How are you in college?
Right. I saw the one with like, oh, Black Friday is racist because that's when they would sell slaves at a discount.
No,
like it's literally one Google search away from like finding out what Black Friday is about.
Yeah,
I'm blanking on it right now, but it's not that. I think it all has to do with commerce, because the idea of they want to get into the black by selling.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
anyways,
whatever.
Right. So we had our other holiday. Do you want to chat a little bit about the
presentation? Yeah.
So it's been called a couple of things.
Yeah. Meeting. Yeah, the meeting at the temple, the presentation of the Theotokos, the entry of the Theotokos into the temple.
That one I think says entrance.
Yes, entrance of the Theotokos. Yeah, so that's the Theotokos. She was brought to the temple when she was 3 years old, unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was 3. And it's really amazing. Like her whole conception is miraculous by itself, because her parents, Joachim and Anna, were one, it's interesting, you've got there, and I always mix up which is which.
From which line they're from?
One of them's from the line of David, one of them's from the line of Levi, of the Levites, right? So you have the priesthood and the royalty together. And they were older, and they were praying that God, like there's a connotation too in like ancient times, if you were married and you couldn't have children, it was like, oh, you're
cursed,
right? You're
Yeah.
unrighteous, like some, God isn't blessing you, so it's something. So Joachim, he did where he, like, I think he fasted and went away.
He went in the desert 40 days, I think,
and
right?
prayed
said,
and
Lord,
prayed, help.
Anna, my wife. So, Lord, look at us. We're here.
Right.
And like you're saying, there's scandal. Like, you can only think to live a life of being holy, because they brought forth the Theotokos. So
Right.
very, 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 very. We commemorate them every liturgy.
Yes. Right.
One of the few saints that were ancestors of God, Joachim and Anna.
Ancestors of God. What a title. Yeah.
The grandma. And I've talked about this, that from a biological standpoint, when a woman is born, she has all the eggs in her.
Right.
So the egg that became our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was technically in St. Anne.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means metaphysically.
Sure.
But it's cool to think about
that,
right? When Mary was she was conceived, and then when she was born, the egg, right?
Yeah.
That would eventually come from, and that's just biology. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's a mystery. I don't know how Christ incarnate.
Yeah.
But I'm layering that on.
Right.
The significance of that. And then to live their whole life being shamed. We talk about that. Like, you don't judge people because you don't know how holy they are. Obviously, they were holy enough to bear the mother of God.
Right.
So there's got to be something going on there.
Yeah. And that is something about the Theotokos. Father David, I think, gave a pretty good homily on it, where he's like, she's not just some woman that God picked. She is the result. She's basically the product of the old covenant, like that, coming all the way to fruition. Like, and it's not like a eugenics program, but it is like the spiritual lineage that she has, like what like brought to producing her.
Well, you know what I'm thinking too? Zechariah would have been from Levi.
I assume so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know. Elizabeth was his cousin, and I wonder how.
Yeah.
That I was trying to
right. Yeah.
But I don't know. You wonder if Anne could have been from the line of David. Zechariah could have been from the line of Levi, and then they married.
Sure. Could be. Yeah.
I was just trying to go backwards about it, like, how can I figure out which comes from which lineage? Because they're cousins.
Because the Theotokos is the cousin of Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But she could have married in, I don't know.
That.
Someone
I don't know enough. But yeah, that means that she's related to Joachim or Anna, like St. Elizabeth is.
Yeah.
So but and then she is just very unique from a young age. I remember reading this. It was super convicting, where she by the age of 3 she was already a master of prayer.
Yeah,
that's
whatever that means.
Yeah. How do you like to master prayer, especially like children? I have 5 kids, and getting them to pray, a lot of them, it's really sweet when they pray like authentically. Like, there's my youngest daughter, Genevieve. She likes to like when she prays, she just sort of talks at God. Sure. So she did, oh Christ, we have to eat soup today. It's called chili. Yeah. And
we have to. Talking to it. Yeah.
I know. She's just telling him what's going on.
Yeah. If you haven't,
that. Yeah.
It's funny because you have petitions, you have Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just let God know.
Yeah.
News update.
Yeah.
You know this because you're God and we're fasting right now.
Yeah.
We have to eat this soup.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Some Lenten chili my wife made. It was good. But she gets brought to the temple, and what's amazing, and I'm sure was probably pretty scandalous at the time too, is the high priest. And I feel bad because I can't remember his name.
Is it not Zechariah? I think that icon a lot of times will say Zechariah.
Yeah, it might be Zechariah, but he brought her into the Holy of Holies, which like women can't go back there. But he recognized how special she was when she got brought to the temple. And that's, if I remember the story, I might be misremembering it, but it is like that she didn't look back at her parents. She just walked right in to the temple.
Well, and that's part of the story too, right? That Anna and Joachim, in their age, they even promised. They go, hey, if you give us a child, we're going to dedicate her, which is crazy to think. Like, you're like, I can't imagine me like, hey, God, I really want, this is hopefully not blast. I really want this sports car.
Yeah.
And then I get it. And then I'm like, but I'm gonna give it back to you. Like, I don't, you get what I'm saying? And I don't want to make her into an object, but the whole idea is like, if you're a parent,
right,
you're like, I want this child, and then you get it and then you give it back. But then she's the Theotokos, like that it's not necessarily sacrifice, but it is in a way. Like I want to be a parent.
Yeah.
And then you give it to us for, I don't know, 3 years, and then we're going to give it right back to you, you know?
Well, and I think about that too, because I liked your metaphor there, because that's how I think some people do think of their children.
Yep.
Is like they belong to me.
Yep. They're mine.
They're mine.
They bring me goodness.
Yeah.
Right?
And I want them for the sake of me interacting with them. But really it's like, again, with that connotation of like, oh, if you're barren, that means you're cursed. A lot of it is like, just bring us the joy of having a child, and that child belongs to you anyway.
Yep.
And it's not like, oh, well, now we get rid of the kid, but it's more that like that child is part of you wherever they are.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, she gets brought into the Holy of Holies. That's another interesting thing that I learned about, where if you pay attention, pretty much every time an angel appears to someone in the Bible, they're scared. Yeah. And the angel has to say, don't be afraid.
Or we've said they argue with the angels, or they're confused. Who are you? Why are you here? Hey, you got the wrong guy. You know?
Right. Well, that's funny, because they're usually scared first, and then the angel starts like, okay, here's what's up. And then they go, are you sure? Like
Moses, I like Moses.
Moses arguing with God.
You know, I think you got the wrong guy.
You know, I stutter.
It reminds me of the Dumb and Dumber. Like, sorry, the bus. You remember at the end of the bus scene? They're like, sorry, bad. There's a bus of guys, you know, there's a lot of guys that, you know what I mean? It is kind of funny where he's like, God's like, hey, I have this special mission, we're gonna go do this thing. It's like, wow, you're gonna find someone great. You know, like, I'm picking you.
And I love that with is it Zechariah like arguing with
it's a good name,
Archangel Gabriel.
It should be named after me.
Well, I don't think it's even the name, it's just he says, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be. What I remember was he's like, right, you're going to have a child named John. Right. Zachariah's like, I think he should be named after me. I could be wrong.
Well, I think what happens, because I get where you're getting that from, because what happens is he's doing the Abraham thing where he's like, no, we're too old. Like, we can't have a child. And then he's like, I am Archangel Gabriel. Like, this is going to happen. In fact, you're not going to be able to speak until you see this promise come true. And then once John is born, they're like, oh, well, we should name him after his father.
That's right.
And they're like, no, he wants to name him something else. And they're like, well, that's weird. Why would you do that? And they have to go to him, and he has to write down like his name.
Or
is
doesn't
John.
he say it? I think that's when he gets his voice back. He goes, his name is John.
Well,
no, or does he write it down?
I think it's, and this is interesting because Archangel Gabriel said like you won't be able to speak, but then it says when they went to him, they had to make signs to him. So it's like, was he deaf too? Like, did it?
Yeah.
And it says that he wrote, his name is John. And at that moment, like then his tongue was loosed and he could speak again.
Well, I'm glad you're here to keep me. Which is also important, that date, because we chat about Christmas date. Right. And how many people say it's pagan.
Sure.
And we've chatted about that. If you do the math backwards, the story basically tells that Zacharias is going into the temple on the Day of Atonement.
Right.
Because only one guy got to go, one priest.
Yes, the high priest.
And that's why I think that only makes sense. That he would go back there once a year during the Day of Atonement. And we chat about that. They like tie a rope around him.
Oh yeah. Right? Second temple stuff.
Yeah.
They started,
they
were scared.
Well, you saw who was the guy that they weren't supposed to be putting the ark on the burden of beasts, and then some guy like it's falling and he touches it and dies.
And kills him. Yeah.
Right. So
and then Second Temple, they don't have the Ark of the Covenant anymore. And so then but that's where they start tying the rope around. And that is like, I understand where that comes from. That idea that like, no, if God strikes the high priest down, we can't go back there.
Who's going to go back there? Right. So like, just so you guys know, that's kind of their thinking. They're like, hey, it's like seraphim. It's kind of like the poltergeist thing, right? I'm going to tie a rope around you, like seraphim, go in there, and if you drop dead, I can pull your body out. Right. And that's where that would have been, to my understanding, that's usually in September. Right.
Right. Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur.
So then you can say, okay, that was the day of
conception
for John.
And
then the story then is, I think it's like 6 months later or whatever, like, or it's 3 months. There's a way that the math works out that Mary goes and sees Elizabeth, and there's a 6 month gap. Like I think she shows up and she's 6 months pregnant or something. Someone will figure it out for me. Right. I think she's 6 months along. And then you can do the math. 6 months, he's going to be 9. Then 6 months after John's conception, then Christ would have been born. Then in December.
Right.
Because 9 months from September then would be in June. Because that's when we celebrate, I think, John the Baptist. When's John the Baptist feast day?
I feel bad. I'm blanking.
It's like
on
June
it,
it's like 6 months before.
But he was born. He's 6 months older than Christ. And I've seen an icon of that when the Theotokos and Elizabeth meet, and you have there's Christ in the womb, but he's like standing upright.
Yep.
And you have St. John in the womb, like
bowing down.
Yeah, because Elizabeth feels him like leap within her when he hears the voice of the Theotokos. So it's
and then that's kind of a
we lost signal again. Yeah.
That's one of the things for I wonder if this anchor, which is supposed to be a nice one. I spent extra on it.
Yeah.
One of the when you talk about, I can probably turn it on now.
There we go.
When you talk about, I'll turn that off. Are they alive in the womb? It's like the first person to recognize Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was a baby.
Was a baby.
Yeah, in the womb. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So something there.
And I did like someone brought that up, like the people that are Christian but are pro-abortion because they do the.
They're not Christian.
Well, yeah, they claim to be. How do I say it? I don't want to judge someone else's faith, but they have the idea that they're not human until they're born.
Yeah.
And the guy goes like, okay, so what about Christ? Was he human in the womb? And it's funny watching people short circuit because they're like, like, wait. And then what about like, that whole situation we just talked about where like St. John as a baby in the womb recognizes and leaps in there. So it's like, yeah, let's stop playing this weird game of like, it's okay to kill someone before they're a person, as if that somehow makes it okay.
Yeah, you get in all the other tough ones then about like mental disabilities if they come out certain ways. And I forgot I don't know what the stat I forget on Down syndrome, if it's like 90% are aborted.
Yeah.
I think with Down, I could be wrong. And again, I say a lot of wrong things. There are certain tests that you can run.
Yeah.
And any time that, that's why they do it. Like, well, let's run all these genetic tests. Oh, it's going to come out with these disabilities. So it's less human. So let's get rid of it. You know,
it's evil. Yeah.
It's like, you have a couple low IQ points. Maybe you should,
as if that makes you less of a person.
Yeah. The one chick from Stranger Things.
Oh,
you see that she's like, well, the only reason I'm alive is because my mom aborted my sister. And if my mom wouldn't have aborted my sister, then I wouldn't have been born. And then I wouldn't be here to be star of Stranger Things. I'm quoting,
Yeah, sure. Like, something like that. Like,
are you that stupid? Like, does that mean,
like,
you're glad that your sister was aborted?
Was murdered. Yeah. Like,
Lord
yikes. Yeah.
So, but it's significant. There's actually, and it's biblical. And I think what's it, Jeremiah, before in your womb, I knew you.
Yeah. Right. And there's God like knit me together in my mother's womb.
That's
so
right.
It's like, it's I don't understand honestly like how this is even a debate. Like,
and how many times there's infanticide, right? Pharaoh.
Yeah.
First off, Pharaoh fires first. Right?
Yeah.
We've chatted about that. People are like, wow, how evil God is. It's like, dude, Pharaoh like
massacred a bunch of babies.
And then God is like, hey, let me start here. I'm just going to
give you time.
You got 10 chances. Okay. Well, you killed all my babies. If I allow your babies to grow old, you're going to kill my people. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to draw the line here.
But
then with Herod, it's the opposite, right? Where Herod then comes and kills all the babies.
Yeah.
And then Christ, right? Number one, he survives. But then secondly, God the Father allows his own son. It's the inversion, right? He's like, okay, the first time we played this game, you killed my babies. I'm killing yours. The second time we played this game, you killed my babies. I'm actually going to allow my son is willingly going to die.
Yeah.
I and my son, who are one, are willingly going to do the thing that you did.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you like an extra point.
Sure.
And then I'm freeing you from death.
Right. Yeah.
Like, do you get it's like, what? You know?
And then it's interesting, like, because the vengeance is the Lord's. Learning about Herod, and then some of this is in Scripture too.
Oh yeah, he's not even.
Oh man, right? He dies horribly because it says he's filled with worms and dies. And there's more contemporary.
Did you hear that? Yeah, I've heard. The other thing that's weird about him that he wasn't Jewish.
No,
he was a plant.
Yeah,
I forget how. Like he was just a Roman plant.
Something like
that.
They
got paid off, or I don't remember. There's something very unique because that's part of, I believe, the prophecy of Christ. It's like there'll be a false ruler.
Yeah.
That is not from the line of Jacob. And
right.
I think someone
will
correct me.
I don't believe Herod was Roman. I think he was some other
Assyrian
tribe. Yeah. But he got declared as king over Judea, even though it's like he's not.
And they were under Roman. It's a weird situation altogether.
Right. Because even though he's the king,
He's still kissing the throne.
So, well, because you have Pontius Pilate, who's the actual governor, like the local representative of the emperor.
Yeah.
And, emperors are always over kings. So, and then their governors carry out like all their judicial stuff. And
but it's just highlighting it. It's like the people kind of scroll over this. It's like we have all these episodes of holy children, the infanticide, the example. Like there's reasons God in His wisdom put that verse in Christ going, the Theotokos going to see, her cousin. And then, I think God in His divine wisdom knew, and we know this through the church, which we don't have to debate the canon, but there's reasons that there's only so many words you can fit in there. So every one of them is very particular and specific.
Right.
So, and then so she's 3 years old. She's in the temple, like we said. She gets in. It's so crazy. Again, we take all these things for granted to think back like, dude, no one went back there. The priest went back there once a year. And then this little girl shows up, which is so, we chat about that in Christianity of how women's rights and feminism. It's like, dude, there's no one that honors women more than us. There's no, there's
the greatest saint who ever lived is a woman. That's why we call her Panagia, which means most holy, right?
It's like, who honors woman more? And then to think that she went back and the holy is the whole, and then she is then the holy of the holies. It is her.
She's the Ark of the Covenant, right? Like, because she bears God inside of her, right? And that, but just another little highlight of that is when Archangel Gabriel appears to her, he doesn't say, "Don't be afraid." He just says, like, "Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with thee."
What does that mean?
And then she says, like, "Who am I that?" But she's not afraid of him, which is interesting, because I've heard some stories that, like, well, she knew Gabriel by this point. Probably, like he had appeared to her in the Holy of Holies, and I've heard that she was fed by the angels when she lived.
I was going to say there. That shows them
bringing bread to her.
She's in the temple, and the angels are feeding her, because you do wonder, like, who could go back to the Holy of Holies?
Or do you put food and like shove it under the curtain?
She's a prisoner.
Right.
Brought your food. Or you tie up someone to go in there.
And drag them out. But no, it's one of these quotes, and I need to find where it's from, but I really liked it. Is, the first ark was made of gold until it could be made of flesh. Right. So that's why she's so special. She's not just some lady that God's like, this one will work. Like, because the other thing, you were talking about biology and stuff, but Christ got his blood from his mother. And so when we commune of the blood of Christ, I have
the milk giver.
Right. That icon.
Think about that. Dude, she's
nursing him
on the outside and inside. It's like, what? Like, there's no one ever to be closer.
No,
that was kind of it's funny because there was some Ortho bros arguing, and I think they were actually arguing with Protestants about theology.
Sure.
And then this Protestant goes, "Who are the top 10 theology?" And they're Paul and John and John MacArthur, Martin Luther, and the Ortho bros come back and say, St. Gregory the Theologian, St. Simeon. And I was kind of like,
or whatever.
I was like, bro, who do you think knew Christ more than it? The greatest theologian is the Theotokos, to actually know and experience God. Maximus and and St. Gregory talk about, like, the objective knowing versus, like, spiritual knowing. We see that Paul get, like, dude, what to carry him around for 9, like, what is that?
Right.
What is that experience even like?
Right. She gave birth to him too, and then nursed him.
Raise him as a child. Like, who knows your kids better? Mom and
Dad. Of course. And especially, like, the intimacy that mothers have with their children. I just can't imagine that. And then how much he loves his mother. Like, that's why I really love the icon of the Dormition, where she's, dead, and there's Christ standing there holding her soul
as a baby,
as a little baby, where it's this inversion, right? Where now he holds her, who held him once.
And then he brings her up to, like, the coming down, right? She, not to put limitations on God, we know what we're talking about, but in the sense of, like, it is through her he is allowed to incarnate, right? Like, he needs the perfect vessel. And then in the same way, because of Christ, and then pulls her up into heaven. Right. And then we have the ultimate, right? The Orthodox belief is Mary is the only one who's technically in heaven. Right. Christ and Mary. That's it. Everyone else is waiting for the resurrection.
They're in paradise, waiting for the resurrection.
So Mary, Christ, heaven, everyone else, paradise. They need their body. And that's why in Revelation it gets weird with Elijah and or Enoch. And Moses' body was taken away too. Right. Which is also interesting. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
Right. Yeah. I'm curious. because you have Elijah and Enoch and some of these others that were like bodily assumed, but they're not in heaven. Like, you got someone calling you?
Spam.
Oh, fun. Yeah. But yeah, just with that's something that really blew my mind, because as growing up Protestant,
you just go to heaven when you're
heaven
done.
or hell,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's just this binary switch. And then you learn, like, well, what the church teaches is there's not going to be like heaven or hell until the resurrection. That's like the final sorting. But you have, if you want to call it that, you have paradise, which is where like the saints dwell in the light of God, but they're not in heaven yet.
The New Jerusalem.
Yeah, New Jerusalem. And you have those that were in torment who are in the same place, if you want to call it that, but they're burning in the light of God, and it's agony for them, right?
Yeah. Which have at the meme.
Yeah.
Like, it's the end. Judge, show him the light of God.
Yeah, show him the true face of God. Like, and then when you go to hell, judge, show him the true face of God.
When I was reading Maximus, because it's funny, I got to the point where he was talking about the ability to exist. And right, our whole purpose as Orthodox, we believe in Theosis, which is to partake and be united to God.
Oneness with God.
Right. And that is how we have our existence. And and someone asked some questions like, where will they be? And he's like, well, option one is like, if God is everywhere present and fills all things, and you're not with him, what does that look like? Like, you're kind of non-existent. Like, I think most people would prefer to hear that answer than like then you're going to be the body part that's cut off and just withering forever.
In agony.
And it's funny because he's highlighting that verse of if a righteous man is saved, what would it take for an what is it for an impious? Impious.
Oh gosh. Did we talk about that here
we
yet?
Haven't. We shouldn't. I love saying impious. It's such I'm such an impious person.
Lord have mercy. I have a pet peeve of linguistics. So like some people really like to pronounce the word impious as impious, and they go, well, that's the like dictionary correct way to say it. And depends on the dictionary you read, because some of them say impious is the right way to say it. The thing that frustrates me about it is that it's because we used to say the word pious as pious, because it's a Latin word. So you would say pious or impious. And I like that because linguistically it's like, oh yeah, even if you don't know the definition, you can infer it if you know what
I know what pious is, and I know im is. It means to like invalidate.
It means not this. Yeah. So impious would be not pious or not pious, right? But we don't pronounce pious as pious anymore. We pronounce it as pious. And so it's annoying to me, because then to me impious fulfills the same linguistic purpose of now you can understand, you can intuit, you know what pious is, you know what impiety is. We don't say impiety, we say impiety. And so it bothers me that people really want to say like, no, we got to say impious, because now linguistically that implies like, oh, it's characteristic of an imp. Right.
That's actually what I thought. Impious, like, I was like,
impious is someone who's like imp-like.
And a negative connotation of like being small. And usually an imp is usually like a devil.
Yeah,
like
a little demon. Right. So it just bugs me.
Like, stay away from that. We'll stay away from that.
Whatever. It's just I have my quirks, right? And linguistically that annoys me. So God forgive me.
The Mother of God is amazing, and she loves us all, and she is our mother,
right? She's the Mother of Christ. We become part of the body of Christ,
and she's hurt because she has been united with Christ in every way sense that is possible,
right?
When you think about, okay, what does it mean to be close and united to Christ? No one will ever be as close. No. It's impossible. It's literally impossible.
Literally impossible.
Like I can't. I cannot. I am not bearing God anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in that, she is. Yeah, she's there.
Right.
And then to think about the love that she has, like you can't even conceptualize it. Which is funny because Father Patrick, there's Philip Schraard. He's actually, I think, translated most of Maximus's work. There's a book the father had recommended. It's like the rape. It's funny because like the raping of the mind.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's pretty fresh. But he had quoted out of there. And I'm a butcher it because he told it to me. And he's like, can you think about this concept that like we have a yearning, right, to be united to God, but God in his perfection actually loves us and wants to be man more than we want to be God.
Interesting.
Like the idea, like with Mary, like, you know, and I'm kind of comparing that to the idea of like your mom loving you. It's like your mom loves you, and I know your mom does, but it's like the Theotokos, being fully the, you know, Theosis, like the love that she has. So it's like, I think that I want to be God.
Oh, sure.
But Christ wanted to be man more that because he's perfect, right?
His desire.
It's so weird. It's like the king's like, I want to be
down with you
more than you think you want to be with me, but I like the king is coming down from the castle and dwelling with us, and he wanted that in his perfection.
Yes.
You're just like, what? Like, how can God, you know, it's like, but you're God. Like, why are you here?
Right. Because he loves us.
Why? You know, it's like crazy. And it's just little things like that I hear from time to time that I'm like, that's what I love about Orthodox, because every podcast, every service, every, you know, something the priest is saying, you're like, what? Like, I thought I knew that concept.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, I was thinking Maximus was talking about death and the debt, you know, and he was kind of talking to a guy. They had kind of an back and forth about penal substitution. And my overall reading is like, I never really thought about it that like when I'm born, I will die.
Yeah.
Right. This is not mine. So I get the idea is like that my debt is my life.
Yeah.
Like, I have to give this thing up. It's like, I'm giving you $100, but you're indebted to me.
You got to give it back at some point. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that makes way more sense than, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot in the Protestant with the substitutional atonement, it's like, well, you arbitrarily owe me something. Like, that always confused to me.
Sure. This is tricky because I like the way you're thinking, because there is this push in Orthodoxy of being like, we don't believe in penal substitutionary atonement.
It depends what you mean.
And it's like, actually we do, but not in the same way, because this is the problem I have with PSA is it basically makes sin God's problem.
Yes.
Not our problem.
Yes.
And so the thing is, though, it is also like it separates us from God, and like we are owed like the wrath that is due because of that separation. And so, but at the same time, it's like, if all you view salvation as, or Christ's death and resurrection as, is just PSA, you're missing everything else, which is so much about this, like this keeps living in my head of just, he joined us in life and in death so that we can join him in resurrection. Like, he went down all the way to the bottom with us. He experienced like the entire human, like his condescension. It's not just like the divine condescension is unfathomable by itself, of just God becoming man. But then on top of that, he's like, and I'm going to die. Yeah. And not just die, but like be killed unjustly, executed unjustly with criminals, like the lowest.
Yeah. He didn't. And what's crazy is people say, like, why didn't he just arbitrarily do it? Like, he could, right? I mean, I don't want to put a limit on God.
Sure.
But you see the topology of it being a complete inversion, right? Adam allowing sin to come into this world, and therefore nailing sin to their human nature. We will always have this thing.
This curse. Yeah.
Because of that, we justly die.
Yeah.
And then Christ comes in and has no, you know, he's not conceived in sin. And then he exists in a way that is not in any way justifiable to condemnation.
Right.
But it's not that's like the $1,000 bill. It's that literally the debt is the concept of death is gone.
Right.
If we are united to Christ. Like, so if you say, okay, I'm uniting to Christ before everyone died and you're just dead.
Yeah. You're in Hades.
There's no price to actually pay anymore because I don't have to give up my body. I do.
Yes, you will, but
I get it back.
You get it.
And then we live in the eschaton with and that's why we prioritize our bodies so much.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so, and like, we know this. I've heard things like this forever. And then I was reading it and I was like, why is this so profound?
Yeah.
And we say, we say it all the time, Christ has risen from the dead, defeating death by death.
Trampling down death.
But you just word things differently every now and then. You're like, whoa.
Yes.
Mary, like God was inside of her.
Yeah. He took his flesh from her, right?
Yeah.
Everything from him. Like, yeah. And so there is that, you don't want to overthink this and get heretical.
Yeah.
But it is
you and I know what we're talking about.
When you commune, you partake of the blood of Christ, like he got his blood from his mother. So it's hers too.
Bro. And who did I hear? There was another thing. And this Father Patrick was saying how the very man that it's both and.
Yeah.
But when Christ is fully God, fully man, he is unchanged.
Right.
But he is different.
Yes.
And that's the same thing with the Eucharist.
Right. It's unchanged,
but it's fully him.
Different.
It's
he's there.
Yeah. But it's not. His nature doesn't change. The bread's nature doesn't change. It's fully both. It's like God is the bread. You're like, what?
Right. The accidents sometimes of how that's called, where you look at it and it's like, that's bread and wine.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's also
it's like such a bridge between physical and metaphysical. Like literally the conceptualization of like, we're just so rooted in this materialistic world. And I'd say that's not that, because I have this objective thing.
Right.
Let me put it underneath a microscope and I see yeast.
Yeah.
It's like, that's for sure not that thing. It's like, well, you're missing the point,
Yeah. That's not, this isn't just a material reality.
Did you see Wes Huff and Pajot went back and forth? They went back and forth. It was just slightly, sorry, side tangent about
go for it.
The Ark of the Covenant being in Ethiopia.
West
Huff's like, well, technically speaking, that area wasn't, called Ethiopia until 300 or 400 AD. Because I forget, Ethiopia, there's just like, there's a term for like dark skin, and that's actually more Sudan. He's like, so there's no way that the Ark of the Covenant could be there. Why wouldn't? And then Jonathan was just like, bro, you're missing the forest for the tree. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was interesting because Wes was like, well, I don't disagree, but let's look at the facts.
Sure.
And Jonathan's like, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Do you think, and again, I think one of the more interesting things about, holy things are for the holy. Like we don't necessarily go around and share these things because number one, they're just, it's not that fruitful and the person won't understand it.
And I don't reveal this, like thy secret to thine enemies.
And just one on the other, like those who have eyes to see how, like I was alive for 30 some years and how many times it's so funny in San Diego, there's a big Orthodox church just like right off El Camino del Rey on the 5. And I drove by it all the time. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it just kept going. You know what I mean? Like every day I lived next to it.
To you.
There it is. Interesting. Not any different. Like I kind of knew, if I drove by a Lutheran church or non-dom, I didn't just, it's right in front of me.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Sure. Yeah. It's my personal little pet theory.
Sure.
So take that for what that is that like the church is basically hidden from you until you're hungry and you seek it.
Sure.
Because same thing where like there were so many, like I feel, once I became Orthodox and started looking back and like you see all these times you've encountered it and didn't even recognize it, didn't even see it.
Yep.
And it's just like, whoa, I just didn't, I wasn't I wasn't hungry. I wasn't looking. I was blind. I didn't see the great treasure that was right there. So yeah.
Oh yeah. And miracles and they're so funny. I just reflect on things and there's things that I was so, I won't give numbers, but I didn't even think about this. Like in 2021, let me think about that. I was baptized in 2022. So in 2021, kind of having that conversation when converts come around. And this has just been my experience. This is stupid, Michael, that like, I feel for the vast majority of people when they start inquiring, it's like either really easy, and they get baptized and they get smacked, or it's like really hard, and then they get baptized and it's kind of a brief. That's just is that?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
same.
Some person comes and it's like they get fired. Their family's like, you're in a cult, blah blah blah. Other people walk in, they're like, this is amazing, I'm home, and they walk through catechism, and then all of a sudden they become, and then they get smashed. That's just kind of my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen both. Yeah.
What's interesting is like I didn't really put 2 and 2 together between. I did a little bit, like when I started inquiring, I definitely had some very weird, and like I was going back over my finances, bro. I took the biggest hit of my life, bar none, on crypto, literally like 3 weeks before my baptism. Like I was in crypto, dude, and my net worth, like literally, and then it. I can remember like waking up.
Yeah,
I have a joke about it, but I don't want to talk actual numbers. That, like I look back, I was like, I was right for my back, and I didn't. I was pretty unaware of it. Like I was hurt. About it, but I was contemplating that because I was chatting with a new person. I'm like, hey, just so you know, the devil doesn't want you here, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to warn them.
Like, because you know what I'm saying? People are like, well, I started going and then I got sick or then I lost my job. So I figured God didn't want me there. Like that whole prosperity gospel. It's like, no, dude, it's the actual opposite.
Right.
It's like, this is where I still can't deal with it.
I have a quick anecdote in that same vein, because one of my godsons put me in touch with these two guys online because they don't live near me at all.
Okay.
But he's like, they're kind of starting to inquire into Orthodoxy. And he's like, and this is my godson, George.
Okay.
And he's like, he's like, I don't know enough. Can you just, do you mind if I put them in touch with you? I was like, yeah, sure. So I was talking to them, and, as things went around, I was like, oh yeah, I should warn you about this thing.
Now that you're talking to me.
Yeah, now that you're talking to me. Yeah. But what was funny is because I was just listing stuff like, yeah, you might have some random people come after you.
Ex-girlfriend.
Well, and I brought that up. I was like, or an ex or something. And then one of the guys was like, dude, you said that? And he's like, just 10 minutes ago, my ex I haven't talked to in years.
Yep.
And he still has a lot of, mixed feelings about, just started reaching out to him. And he's like, dude, it's weird that you say that, because that just happened to me.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, be careful. This stuff starts happening. It's all to pull you away.
Yep.
That's all it's trying to do. And you'll notice as soon as you start turning away from the church, all that pressure lets off.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, and if you're not aware and thinking about it, you're just going to go oh, well, everything's fine now. And you'll probably forget about the church. Right. Yep. Yeah. And then I've also had, I actually have, a couple godchildren where those poor guys have gotten both ends of the stick there, where it's just
both ends.
Yeah, where they've had a brutal and tough inquiry and catechism.
Yep.
And then they've had a brutal and tough post baptism, just, in my opinion, it's that neophyte period. That is probably the
I will
hardest.
Say that too, that now that I
3 years
after
baptism,
I think then it kind of, at least in this, again, I hate to be, God does what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
For me then, and I would say then there's waves.
Yeah.
Right. There's either, and maybe it's both. I'm not trying to overgeneralize. I'm giving this so people know as they're inquiring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is kind of a pattern. Because I had a pretty tough catechism.
Mm-hmm.
I was baptized, and then I was smooth, more or less.
Yeah.
For a yearish, and then I got smashed again when I moved up here. A bunch of, and I think God knows in his divine, that's, he's taking these things and giving us for repentance and to draw us closer. But you can definitely take it in the wrong way, being like, oh, I'm doing this, things are getting worse. I don't feel like going to church this morning. I shouldn't. I need to listen to my intuition or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's very much what the demons want you to do, is don't listen to your priest, don't listen to the church, listen to yourself, right? Which is really them throwing stuff at you, messing with your passions, and making you think that oh, well, the universe doesn't want me to go to church today. It's certain beings in the universe don't want you to. So how hard are you going to push for it? And it's tough because in the modern age, especially, we have so many things that distract us. We have so many excuses. We have so many reasons not to. Especially one of the effects of COVID that I really hate is a lot of people are like, oh, I have a cold, I shouldn't go to church because I don't want to spread it. Dude, go put a mask on if it makes you feel better. Go to church, please. That's where you need to be.
The most.
It's where you need it the most.
That's the really, the dichotomy. And I felt that way, where I have a sniffle or something man, I need that Eucharist.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I have a story about this. Sorry, that made me realize. So this is one of my godsons is a deacon, and he was telling me about this deacon at the leper colony. I'm trying to remember who this, which saint this is, or where this story comes from. I'm good for now. Thank you. You can kill the last of that. Okay. But the deacon and this priest, they serve liturgy at this leper colony.
Okay. And
so all these lepers are coming up and communing. And then at the end, the deacon's supposed to consume the chalice, right? And the deacon's like, I'm not going to do that, Father. And the priest is like, are you, don't be afraid. He says, you can't get sick from the Eucharist. But basically the deacon refuses. So the priest consumes the chalice. Priest is fine. Deacon gets leprosy. Anyway. Yep. So it's this thing of don't be
well, and that's that is one of the more tough things that you really hope, the grace of God in a situation like that. You're like, what if you just, even if you did, this is one of the things, I'm sorry, this is my logical mind, where we do have that conversation, well, no one has ever had this happen. As far as getting sick from something, Got something in your drink?
Yeah, there's something floating around in there.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what that is. But you know, there is that like, okay, well, if I got sick in another way, like I wouldn't blame the Eucharist anyway. I'm just, you know, there I'm giving you kind of someone who would kind of give you an objection. You're like, whoa, da da da.
Well, and you also have like even St. Paul says like if you commune unworthily, that's why you get sick.
So I had that conversation today. The hard part, someone at church we were chatting and they're like, well, I felt sick after communion, and he's like, did I partake? And he knew, but he's like, well, I'm always partaking unworthily.
Yeah, sure.
But he's like, did I really untake? And I'm
did
like,
I do it real bad this time?
I'm like, good luck figuring that out.
Yeah,
man. You know, like I
just pray and repent.
You know, I try and say that prayer like on the way up about the coal, you know, burning me. And like, and I'm like,
burn up the thorns of all my sins.
Or I was in there one about being unworthy and like consuming it, burnt. Like
I am thatched, partake of thou who art fire.
Yeah,
scorch me not. But
it's like, and if you like, that's one of the tough parts. I think it just goes off every like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I wonder if it's got a standby setting on that needs to get turned back off. Yeah, sorry everybody.
I didn't move it over. But you can see my beautiful face.
That's right. Your pre-ortho beard face. Yeah.
Right. Now that I have a beard, it's you have to it's required. Yeah, because I think it's happened 3 times because I happen every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Always something.
Yeah, always something.
But we'll
funny. Figure this out eventually, and then it'll be clean.
Yeah, it was funny because I was just like, good luck figuring that. Like there's that dichotomy of like if you don't want to partake unworthily, and it's like I'm always unworthy. So it's like, Lord have mercy on me.
Yeah,
figuring that out. That's why you have your priests and yeah, you know, you're like with the deacon, you know, get leprosy and the priest it.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
poor deacon, but he also refused to do what his priest told him to do. But I understand, like he was scared. He was afraid of the illness.
Man, you kind of wonder would you do it?
Yeah,
I'd like to think I would.
Yeah,
because we've talked about that. Like, there's been times that was like, if it hits the floor, like, oh, I'll be the, you know, like
I'll be the one to slurp it out of the rug.
Yeah. For people who don't, I don't think we've chatted about that. You know,
not.
More in particular, the story that I think, right, it was St. John Maximovich.
Oh yeah,
you've heard that one. He took the Eucharist to someone who was sick, and they threw it up.
Oh, they spat it out, or threw it up,
and then he consumed it.
Yep. It's like, nope, I'm still okay. Yeah, I don't know if it was a baby or a person,
an older person.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah. That's
and I think that's probably happened more than once, but I'm pretty sure in the book with St. John there was a particular episode of him like
there's. So I'm sure if someone's making a red yarn conspiracy board, they'll figure out who I am, or well, I'm pretty open about it anyway.
Sure.
But one of my godfather is right now he's a reader. He's about to be ordained a deacon, which is awesome. But yeah, he was serving at a church, and I feel so bad because I think he was made a brand new priest. So he was, I think, doing communion for the first time, or maybe he had recently been ordained, but he was a new priest is the point. And the bishop was there. Now the bishop doesn't serve communion, the bishop stays in the altar. But what happened is, like, the third person who came up was this lady. And this is an important thing. I think I may have told this story before, so I apologize. But where she received communion, she kissed the chalice, and she immediately went to cross herself, and she smacked the bottom of the chalice and chucked the gifts up in the air all over the priest and all over the floor. Yeah, Eucharist all. So the priest, like, he and my godfather was holding the napkin when this happened. So the priest takes the chalice, puts it on the altar, comes out, and he's like on the ground slurping it up until the bishop is like, "Father, stop! Like, we'll deal with that. Put it in a minute." Yeah. Like, but you can't just be up here like slurping in your garments, like in your vestments and stuff. But it ruined, like, he had brand new vestments. All those have to be burned liturgically, and so just awful. So like
I think we chatted about it because I was chastised. It's funny.
Oh yeah,
I've been chastised for making this, you know. And the priest was like, "Don't just like, don't even do it." Like he's like, "Wait." Like some people like wait till they get away. You're like, dude, just don't do anything next to communion. Cross your arms,
right?
Because the other thing I had was that issue. Like in the Antiochian tradition, we don't usually kiss the cross or the chalice. And then different churches, our church, right? The priest will present it, and our napkin holders will wipe our face.
Yeah.
And most places they don't wipe the face.
Yeah.
So one, they may not present it. So like I had that when I was in the Balkans. I'm like, am I leaning in?
Yeah.
And if there was any question, I just didn't do it either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if he's not presenting it, if it's not clear as day, I'd prefer not to instead of knocking it over.
Yeah.
You know?
That being said, something that happened when we had the pastoral conference,
oh, no.
and well, nothing bad.
Okay.
But it was one of the priests I was holding the napkin for was a visiting priest. And he would, give people communion, but he wouldn't present the chalice to them. He'd just hold it.
Yep.
And people would look, and then, well, they wouldn't kiss it. They would end up going away. Yep. And then he looked at me and he goes, "Do they not kiss the chalice here?" And I had to tell him, like, well, we do, but normally our priests hold the chalice up so that we know that that's what.
Because I've had that where priests, I'm like, I don't feel like going for that.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but like, unless you literally move it forward to me, and then the napkin holder gets out of the way.
Yeah.
Because I've been at plenty of places, the napkin holder, just number one, they don't wipe your mouth and then just sit there.
Yeah.
So the chalice sits there, they sit there, and then I've seen people lean over, and I'm like,
yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to headbutt the chalice.
Yeah.
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 No, I know too. Like I think in Antiochian tradition, it's often that they will grab the napkin themselves and wipe their own mouth.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've had one of my friends who grew up in that tradition, and then he visited a Russian church. And when he walked, they didn't know him.
Yeah.
And when he walked forward to commune, he reached forward, and the deacon put hands on him and shoved him back, and it's just, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And he's like, I
grab the napkin.
Yeah, grab the, and he's like, go to the back of the line, try again.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, I'm paying attention now.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's the thing, like the deacon's supposed to protect.
Well,
the chalice,
yeah,
so,
and I mean, honestly, not to dunk on your friend, it is one of those things like you should be, if you're halfway paying attention.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's when I'm like,
notice whatever
you're walking
doing.
up. What are they doing? How are they doing? Do they have multiple spoons here? Lord have mercy.
Well, and we had I talked with an inquirer today at coffee hour.
Yeah.
And he was asking questions like, when do you cross yourself? And everyone pretty much said in unison, like, just watch what everybody else is doing.
Yep.
Yeah. And same with,
for prayers. And when do you bow? Like a lot of times the priest will say, "Think peace."
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Else. Right. You just follow I always just follow the deacon.
Yep.
Usually. But sometimes they're not around and you're like,
yeah,
there are people making more than, how should I say that? You can never make too many signs of the cross, but there are people who are just like, we get it enough without trying.
Yeah. The only time I'm aware of that, there's one we already talked about. Don't make the sign of the cross when you're taking communion.
Yep.
One, for just safety reasons, don't knock the communion chalice out of your priest's hands.
Yep.
That would be awful. But second, you're about to partake of the body and blood of Christ. You don't need to also be blessing yourself. It's just go up and receive. And then next thing would be whenever a priest is blessing you, you don't want to be crossing yourself, because that's in a way you're kind of like, "Nah, Father, I got this."
Yeah.
I'll it's not accurate actually to call crossing yourself as blessing yourself.
Yeah.
But that's a helpful way to think about it when it comes to whether you should do it or not. So when you go up to get a blessing from someone, you shouldn't cross yourself first, because you're going up to get their blessing.
Yeah.
Right. Same with I made this mistake when I was made a reader. First I had to do these matanias facing the altar. Then I had to turn around, and the priest who was the priest monk who was instructing me, he's like, "Now do a prostration towards the bishop." And just in my head, every time I'm like, a prostration is you cross yourself and then you go down. So I crossed myself, and then he's like, "Don't cross yourself first." And I was like, I already did. So
too late.
I'm just powering through it.
I can't undo it. All right, let me take it back.
Reverse it. Yeah. I was like, "Oops." Yeah. And the reason is because you're going to receive the bishop's blessing rather than being like, let me cover myself first, because So that's a way to think about it. And there is one of our Father Matthew brought up that you can cross yourself too much to where you're not paying attention to anything else except just crossing yourself a million times. But overall, there's very few moments where it's inappropriate to do so. So yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. We chat a little bit about St. Nicholas. So we're in the Nativity, so we're about an hour 20 in. So another topic or two. I was thinking maybe
that'd be good.
If you'd like, I only know a few things about St. Nicholas.
Sure.
But then also we could maybe chat a little bit about Nativity. So I don't know if you'd like to comment on any of those things.
Sure. I mean, St. Nicholas, I also unfortunately don't know a ton about him, other than, he's this he's the bishop of Myra and Lycia, right? And he rebuked Arianism. There's chatter of like whether he actually he struck somebody. It was controversial enough that he was like temporary. I can't remember if he was actually like.
I think it was at the council, right?
Yeah, it was at the council
of which had been Nicaea.
Yeah,
which is the first council, right? Yes. They gathered, and for people who don't know, there was a Arius.
Yeah,
was a I think he was a priest. Was he, or was he a bishop? He was at least a priest.
I believe Arius was just a priest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was in like Egypt, Alexandria area. And he had taught that Christ was created.
Yes.
We don't believe that. Christ has been co-eternal. Yeah. There was never a time when the Father was, when the Son wasn't. It just doesn't even make sense logically. It's like, okay, with God the Father has always existed, there had to have been a Son.
Yeah.
So the Trinity has always existed. And he was saying, well, there was kind of like this God the Father, and then he made the Son.
Right.
Where we creature, say, we say begotten, right? We don't understand it.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into Christology, but just for an over simplification, that was a heresy. And most people were Arians.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There was a time where it's something like 95% of the bishops in the church were Arians. And so no matter how bad things get, like,
and a lot of Protestants are technically, they wouldn't even know that. If you'd ask, it's like, hey, can you tell me about Christ, the Son of God, the Logos? They'd say, oh yeah, he was created by God the Father.
Yeah.
Like, actually, no, right?
Begotten, not made.
Yes. It's into the creed.
Of one essence with the Father. That's why, well, that's part of, the creed is like the product of that.
It's a smack to Arius.
Yeah.
Like, you're wrong.
Let's rebuke this and make sure that we understand what our true theology
and
is.
There are no great examples, but the one that the church fathers like to use is the sun. Like when the sun exists, the light and the heat.
S-U-N in the sky, right?
Yeah.
Not the S-O-N.
Because you'd say, well, like, how does that, how can something beget? Like, look at one of the better examples. Like when the sun exists, you have the actual ball of fire, which we can never fully understand, but through the light, which is Christ, is the example. Now, again, that's modalism. That's a whole other, like, but it's a good way to conceptualize, like, okay, well, how do they exist at the same time?
Yeah, you can't separate the sun from its light, from its warmth. Those are all part of, they're all the sun.
Yeah.
And but so if you can't have, like, let's take the light of the sun without the sun. Then there is no light. They existed
at the same time. So like when the light exists, it has heat and it has the ability to see things. And so the main thing is that they've been writing letters and people are like, hey, we're gonna hash this out. And that was that Constantine called the first, right?
Yeah, he called for it because, and this is the YouTube channel Patristics with an X.
Yeah,
did a really good, nice short video about this. They're really good at introducing topics, which is great. But they talked about that where, Emperor Constantine, like, one, he was really, he legalizes Christianity. He actually, everyone likes to say, like, oh, Constantine did that. Like, technically he and the other emperor, which I always have trouble with his name because it's a weird one. But that's the Edict of Milan.
Yeah.
And that happened before.
And so so again, they before that, Christians would be often killed.
Oh yeah.
And by it's just saying, like, it wasn't forcing it. That was Theodosi, I think, or one of the later the other emperor
making it the
he then made it right. People get that religion. I've heard people get that confused. Yeah. Like, he didn't make it the religion.
No,
he just said it is. You can now practice it without being murdered.
Yeah,
right. Because Jews,
you don't have to be. Yeah,
the Second Temple Jews who did not convert to Christianity were infamous for turning Christians in.
Yeah.
So that, like, we chat about that. There's the document you chat about with the reader.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Where there's documents, the Romans, the Jews would say, hey, these people, right. Like with Christ. Oh, they worship Christ and not Caesar. Yeah. We worship Caesar. Like these are right.
Yeah.
And so they turn them in.
Yeah.
And then
we have no king but Caesar. Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So just clearing, it's like, no, he legalizing it made that you were able to
tolerated it, so that you could practice openly.
Yeah.
You could be a Christian and not be afraid of getting burned alive or fed to lions or
which had just happened. Right. Diocletian was right before him.
Yeah.
Right. And who was literally Pantaleon and, like, go down the list. St. George.
Yeah.
All right. Anastasia. Like most people.
So many martyrs come out of Diocletian's reign. Yeah.
You'd say, oh, the great martyr. Like, oh, who did it?
Right. Probably Diocletian. You also have Julian the Apostate later, but.
Oh, yeah. Because he's right after and he tries to revert everything back and
like,
fails.
let's return to paganism because it's, whatever. It's like, nope, no, nobody's having that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just slight nuance, you know, right? So he calls that, and they're arguing about this. Like, was Jesus created or not? It's pretty obvious that all the fathers, like, no, Jesus is for sure one in essence with the Father, unbegotten, always, there's no lesser or equal.
Right.
Or they are equal. Sorry. There's no lesserness.
Yes.
And that's where the controversy is. Some people say he showed up and slapped him.
Right.
And I think we chatted about this, and then they kind of like, hey, bro, good move, but you got to get out of the council.
Right. Well, they assumed he did it out of rage or something, which is like, you can't. Yeah. So I can't remember if he got like temporarily like deposed or exiled.
I think it was reprimanded. I thought at the council, and I thought it was short because then I thought it was like the day of the council, he slaps him. And then I thought that like the Theotokos shows up to the other bishops and it's like, hey, no, what he did was fine. I don't know. Someone will correct me again.
Yeah. I'm actually, I've only heard that little bit about the Theotokos appearing. I'm not sure. I do know, like, I don't know any details about it, is what I mean. I do know, like, another thing is slapping someone back then, especially in the culture that like St. Nicholas is from, that's a rebuke. It's not like if you were to punch him in the face, that's different. And so some people will kind of say that as a joke. They'll be like, oh, you know, punch heretics. And it's like, well, he didn't punch anybody. He struck him, slapped him as like a rebuke of like, what are you doing? But he was doing it dispassionately. It was like trying to snap him out of like, because Arius was also this, from what I understand, he was this very like charismatic priest. I hope like, for example, Father Josiah, please forgive me. But like, he was one that like the people loved him. He was really popular. And so it would be comparatively like one of those street preacher types, or you could say, you know, I'm not saying anything wrong about Father Josiah Trenum, but like
he has an aura.
One of those where like, oh yeah, everybody like is attracted to him and likes him. He's charismatic. He's well spoken.
Mari, maybe you could say.
Yeah, exactly.
He can be slapped by a righteous person. Not me. I'd be passionate.
Yeah, I know. I can't slap people dispassionately. But no, like that sort of thing where, and he's teaching this heresy. And so yeah, by the time like Constantine's has finally defeated his the other emperor, man, his name just flickered through my brain. But anyway, and you know, unifies the empire, and then it's like, okay, you know, and he's very like sympathetic to Christianity. He wants to convert himself. And then he's talking to these bishops and they're saying, hey, we're actually dealing with a big issue in the church right now. And he's like, well, let's have a council and solve it. Like, let's figure this out. And so, yeah, that's
when the Pope came forward and he made the decision for everyone.
Yeah, for everyone. And there was no debate. They just, what does the Pope say? Yeah. No. But yeah, so
of Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexandria. Yes. Yeah, of Antioch. Or yeah, St. Nicholas. So aside from that, that's one thing everybody knows him for, is slapping Arius.
Yeah.
But also it was incredibly like all his acts of charity. This is why like kind of the Santa Claus character is inspired by St. Nicholas, where he would like, I've heard different versions of the same story. Like whether he like, because one I heard was him like dropping gold bars down the chimney. And another, it's him throwing a bag of gold coins like through the window. But
I've even heard putting him in shoes or stockings.
Right. And I think that's part of it, is like when he dropped it down, if it's, you know, dropped down the chimney, it would bounce into their shoes because people would keep their shoes by the fireplace to dry them out. And then the other one is like throwing it through the window, probably also at their shoes. But that's kind of where the stockings and
I heard, you know, stuff. Maybe if you would think they wouldn't leave the door unlocked, but maybe they did. You know, you open up, the closest thing would maybe be shoes by the door. So he just dropped the gold coins in. I don't know.
Yeah. But either way, he did all this secretly because he didn't want to be found. Like he wanted to, how do I say? He wanted to conceal his charity because it's not about him. He's trying to help people. And so the story I heard is this man who is very poor and he can't have dowries for his daughters. And this to me is weird, like a cultural thing where I'm like, I don't get this. So he's actually thinking of like sending them to a brothel, like to prostitute them. Because like what else? Like it's what else are we gonna do? And of course, St. Nicholas is like, that is unacceptable. That can't happen. But rather than confront the man or anything, he would, either walk by the house. The story I've heard about him dropping it down the chimney is that all the houses are built really close together, and he would walk on the roofs, on the rooftops, and then he would get to their house and drop things down the chimney. The other one I've heard is him walking by in the street and throwing it through the window.
Because the chimney, you're like, he throws it into a pile of wood. You may never see it.
Exactly. Yeah. Or especially if the fire, like the ashes are still there. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. The one I've heard that I think is probably the more accurate one is him throwing it through the window. Yeah. Especially back then, you didn't have glass on your windows. And if it's hot or anything, you'd open it just for the night air to come in. But yeah, he'd throw like a bag of gold into the room, and then the guy would rejoice, and with that he would be able to pay for a dowry for his daughter to get married. But then he's like, but then I'm still destitute. I've got these two other daughters, so he's thinking about doing it again. And from what I understand too is that he's not talking about doing this at all. It's just Saint Nicholas is clairvoyant and able to understand that that's what he's planning to do. And so he goes and, keeps doing that until the third time the man like stays awake and waits to see who's doing this, who's putting the gold in his house. And then he even chases Saint Nicholas for a little while, and then realizes like, oh, it's the bishop, which would be wild. Like, I'm chasing someone. Stop.
Archbishop Kirill was coming by.
Yeah. Trying to chase him down, and like, oh, Vladika, forget. Sorry. I didn't know it was you. But then he's like, don't tell anybody about this. So.
And we forgot. So year-wise, for people who aren't familiar, I think first 325.
Yeah, 4th century. Yeah, early 4th century.
So he's probably he's this is early 300. It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
we've kind of
1700 years ago.
I've commented that in the Orthodox tradition, Saint Nicholas is everywhere.
Yeah,
right. He's one of the main on our iconostasis.
Yeah, you see him on almost every iconostasis. He's also like every day of the week has people
him and the apostles.
Him and the apostles are commemorated together.
Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah. Because there's like
archangels.
The Mondays for the angels.
Yep. I think it's Tuesday and Thursday. I think I could be wrong.
Yeah, Tuesday and Thursday, because there's then also John the Baptist.
Yep. Maybe you're right. Maybe they're Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Because I think they each get
Wednesdays for the betrayal in the garden, but it's also Anyway, I need to get those.
We're saying he's up there with his veneration is up there with.
He's equal to the apostles in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a big deal. He's more than just a cool saint. It's like
Santa Claus. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very much ingrained in the life of the church, because he was a great defender of the church.
Yeah.
Right. And that's more than just being a good debater. It's like he was bold and eloquent and able, by the grace of God, to preserve the truth, right? And like being willing to stand up and even receive the ridicule of like, I'm gonna slap this person, and I know
it's probably not gonna go over
the other people may not understand. So
and he has a ton of other miracles that I can't. There's one about like man, this is terrible, because when I was in the Balkans, he was everywhere. Like I think that he had some type of, and someone can leave the comment, there's a miracle that he had defending from pirate, like a lot on the ocean.
Yep. He could like, a lot of, he's a saint that a lot of people pray to when they're seafaring.
Yes.
And he would calm the storms and stuff like that. I think kind of like, even St. John of San Francisco could calm storms, which is cool. There was a time just earlier this year, we were camping.
Did you?
And like a lightning storm was coming in. So we're like, St. John, help. And then it would pass. And it was kind of amazing. Yeah. So, But calling St. Nicholas calms the seas, all sorts of like, I really would love to dig more into reading his life, because there's many, many miracles associated with him. He's a very, very great saint. Yeah.
Yep. St. Nicholas, pray to God for us. So for us, though, we still have another couple weeks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Being on the old calendar, we're 13 days behind the new calendar. So.
And so do you know, I think in Russia, right, during the like after the revolution, right, they kind of got rid of religion, and they kind of have old man Christmas.
Oh, they have Ded Moroz, who's like Grandfather Frost.
Okay.
And if I understand correctly, and anyone who's actually like from like Slavic culture can correct me. From what I understand, like Ded Moroz is like a very old Slavic thing.
Okay.
I think he was even like a god at some point in their history before they were Christian. And it's kind of interesting that they're like, well, now he serves God, like the true God.
Yeah.
And he's kind of their Santa Claus like figure. They have Snegurочка, who's the snow maiden, who's always with him. It's like his granddaughter or his niece or something. And she has like she dresses in like this blue dress, and she has these long like blonde braids in her hair. Very like iconic, very visually striking, so it's different from Santa Claus, because instead of him riding a sleigh or anything, there's him and his niece or granddaughter, Snegurочка, the snow maiden. So yeah.
Well, my question was, I've heard that they kind of
they tried to secularize it and make it. My understanding too is that in at least Soviet Russia, and I think even still a little bit in modern Russia, they care a lot more about New Year's than they do, like, is way more festive than Christmas. And I think a lot of that is because of the Soviets trying to like cut the religion out of their like holidays and religious practice, or they're like,
Are you familiar then, like, why even a Western Christmas, the Santa got why it got moved closer to the Nativity?
I'm not. I know, like Western, especially American Santa Claus is very tied to like Coca-Cola and all sorts of stuff. But
there's some conspiracies.
There's a lot of conspiracies.
There's some people who don't like Christianity that started muddling with it. And changing the songs of the holiday away from Christ.
Oh yeah. That's why I remember hearing this once, and I was like, I don't understand how this could be true. And then I realized why it is.
I was with Justin. We went watch Christmas lights, and it was Sleigh Bell Rock. I forget what it was.
Oh yeah, Jingle Bells Rock.
That one, and there was another one. And I just made the joke.
Yeah.
And I said, and we Googled it. And it was made by people who don't like Christ.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Well, it was something that like someone was like, most Christmas songs, like the vast majority are composed by Jewish people. And I was like, that can't be possible, because in my head, because I grew up very Protestant, I'm like, so Silent Night, like Hark the Herald Angels Sing, the first Noel. I'm like, no way that was done.
Not those.
Like, no, it's not. It's like chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Have yourself a merry little Christmas, White Christmas. All that stuff that has nothing to do with Christ. It's just, isn't Christmas time awesome? And presents and trees and stuff.
Santa Claus, and Coca-Cola, right? And the polar bear.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy on us.
Yeah, God help us.
Yeah. So what are we doing during Nativity then? We're in the Nativity. We have the fast going on. We're preparing for the birth of Christ.
Right.
Anything you want to highlight there?
Man, well, probably a couple things. One, I do like this part of being on the old calendar is that, like the hard part is that, we don't get to celebrate with
your wife had shared the meme of SpongeBob, Squidward.
Oh yeah,
it's like the new calendar's fat, right?
Oh yeah.
Squidward sitting in his house
on the old calendar.
And Patrick and SpongeBob are running around gleefully. It's like being an old calendarist and seeing the new calendars eating.
Right. They're enjoying their Christmas celebration. Like
December 26th, because we have to go through that, like where they
we have to pass through that. That's also like, my family, my parents and stuff are Protestant. That's Christmas, and obviously like that's even Christmas for many Orthodox people. It's just new calendar Orthodox, or sorry, that makes it sound like they're a different faction. It's like just Orthodox who are on the new calendar. We are Orthodox who are on the old calendar. We're not old calendarists, but we're
on the original calendar.
The OG, the best one. But
it is tough. I do say that. I'm like, that's I'm a very tried and true believer, and that is the correct calendar, and it's the one we should be operating on. Not to design, but it is difficult where it's like, because the West is all on the newer calendar, you wake up on a random Tuesday and everyone's going to work and in Western Christmas, it's like it's Thursday, everyone's off, you sleep in,
you get holiday time,
there's no traffic, and then it's like, okay, I have to try and go to church on Tuesday, which for but that's honestly, there's symbolism there with the world.
We're out of step with the world. That's the thing I like about it is that and then I'm also one from a really selfish standpoint. If you're going to buy presents for your kids, you wait till after new calendar Christmas and then all the sales afterwards, like, hey, I can get things for pretty cheap. But and then we get to leave our tree up a lot longer, which is nice. But
that's a pagan thing. Christmas tree. Right?
Do we want to talk about that? Tannenbaum.
So Boniface, right?
Right. Well, there's some of that. You have St. Boniface chopping the tree down. the Odin tree while they seethed about it. But a lot of it too is that this is something I actually just had a phone call with one of my friends who is not religious, but he kind of believes all these sort of Reddit tier things about Christianity. And not to insult him, it's like, this is probably what most people who think they know a lot, because he was like, well, Christmas isn't even a Christian holiday. He's doing it was a pagan one that they're just hijacking. And
Mithras. And we already debunked the idea about the calendar. We have actual dates, and with the Solstice Invictus, that was post Christianity.
Sol Invictus, exactly. And
then actually after.
Yeah, and
it's
these
cool.
are not...
You can say the equinox and the solstice. Okay, but we're not on the solstice. We're off by a couple weeks.
Exactly. Like
you could literally play that with anyone. If it was like in the middle of September, like, oh well, this is just because there was harvesting at that time
because of the
June 16th. Well, that's just because it's the middle of the year. Like you can see and cope in any way you want.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always some weird cope out there to try to. But the thing that is important though is like, all right, well, the way a lot of Christians would talk to pagans when they're proselytizing them is they'll take symbolism that the pagans understand and help them understand how it points to Christ.
Like we did with the sun.
Right. Yeah, we talked about
the perfect example.
No, but it is an example.
Yeah. And Saint Spiridon did it with the brick.
Yes, right. Where there's earth, fire, and water all in the same thing.
How can that be? How can three things be one?
Yeah.
And supposedly I think that was First Council too.
Yeah, that's also.
And Saint Spiridon held the brick up, and I've heard that it
crushed it, and
fire came out.
Fire came out of the top, water came out of the bottom, the earth stayed in his hand, and it was a way for him to.
That's cool, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love seeing that when there's icons of him doing that.
Well, yeah, and he always has the hat.
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain that to someone. The whole like issue with how they all look the same.
Yeah. There you go.
Right, they were kind of giving me the like, I wish the icons looked just like their actual faces.
And
and again, you can maybe
elaborate.
I'm like, well, that's kind of not the point. Like, it is, but it isn't. There's a picture of someone, and the icon is in the tradition of the church. Like John the Baptist looks identical to Christ always. He's just always like ruffled up. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So because she was giving me a hard time about like, well, these guys, I have the Colavati fathers. They literally look all the same.
Sure.
It's like, I wish I could. And there are usually small intrinsic details. Like Saint Spiridon always has the hat.
Yeah.
But I was trying to explain to her, I'm like, this is not a picture.
Yeah.
The idea of a portrait and the idea of an icon are two different things.
Yeah. To an extent. Yeah. I would actually say, I think Father Matthew would disagree with you on this and he's a master iconographer. But he points out like, no, they're drawn this way because they do look like this. And yes, a lot of them look similar, but a lot of people look similar. But there are some interesting examples of like this one. I need to remember. I think this is Saint Sabas, his monastery, and or Sava. Like
I think it goes either way. Saint Sava, Sava. Yeah. There's the one in the Middle East, and then Saint Sava, who's also of Montenegro or Serbia.
Okay, that's where the one.
There's a modern one, and there's a one which I think he's named after. The one from the Middle East.
Yes, but there's so it might be more the more modern one, but there's one of Napoleon's like nephews or something. He's like a commander.
1700.
He took over this monastery. And while he like kicks all the monks out, and he's like sleeping in one of the bunkhouses or in like probably the abbot's quarters or something, and then this old monk comes into his room and is like, spare the monastery and like God will grant you victory or something like that. And he's like, what are you doing in here? And like tries to chase him out. And then the door is shut, and he like opens it, and he bursts out there, and his guards are looking at him like, what's wrong, sir? And he's like, oh, this monk just came through here. Why'd you let him in? And they're confused. Like, what are you talking about? And so he starts kind of going around the monastery grounds. Then he finds these monks doing like an akathist with the icon of Saint Sava. And he goes like, oh, who is that? He recognizes the picture, and they're like, this is Saint Sava. And he's like, go get him. I need to talk to him. And they're like, he's been dead for 400 years.
I'm trying to think. He would have been, I thought he was 16, 17. Or I'm thinking of Saint Basil of Volkstrug. I think Saint Sava was
something like that. But
he'd have been, because he was in the Serbia. He was like 13. He was with all the lines of the king. Saint Sava, he was the son that went to Hillerander. Like they started the Again, someone can correct me.
Sure.
I should know that because I was in there.
But the fact is, he saw the icon and was like, "Oh, there, that's him."
Yeah.
And so, and I do understand there is a style.
They're cartoon,
icons.
like that's her. She's like the cartoon, and I'm like, I guess what I'm pushing back is against the idea of like we should have, and I have pictures of Elder Ephraim, but I also have as an icon.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between a picture of him. Do you know what I'm saying? Going to the extent of like, okay, well, and there are plenty of people like I have pictures of St. John Maximovich.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between having a portrait of him and an icon.
Sure.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't, and maybe I'm wrong if they would say, well, yeah, let's start putting pictures of them that are made from DSLR cameras.
Sure.
I'm saying that's not, do you get what I'm saying? Like there's something about it being painted by hand. It's a tradition.
Yeah.
And you and I know when we look at this, who that is.
Yes.
But,
right.
And it looks very much like him. I have a picture of him downstairs, very similar. And to be honest though, there are some times where there are some icons that aren't painted as well.
Yeah, oh, sure.
And
the iconographer might not be as talented.
Gifted. And that's kind of what I was explaining too. Like, at least when I was in the Balkans, he explained that we were in some places and people are like, these are hideous. He's like, well, dude, what do you expect? This is, rural Montenegro. And it was probably you painting. Like, what do you think? They got to bring someone from Constantinople to rule to
some
paint?
master painter.
That's part of what I've heard too. And Father, I'd be interested to hear Father Matthews that it is in a way that is easier to copy.
Right.
Like there's definitely a degree like Father Matthews, right? You can kind of tell this one's not like that's a Father Matthew one.
Right.
And that's a print. This one is actually hand painted from Thessaloniki.
I
like it a lot.
Yes.
I think Father Matthews is I like Father Matthews more. And
Father Matthews has incredible
the colors. Like, dude, the St. John of Damascus today, I was looking at there. I'm like, the intrinsic detail of the clothing that he does so well. I mean, I like this one a lot. And I hate to be a comparative person. And I'm probably just biased.
Sure. I think a big part of what makes iconography important is that it has to be by someone's hand. Whereas you could say like, well, it's by the hand of the photographer or something, but it's like, well, that's not the same thing because especially, we're blessed that we have a couple of iconographers at our church. Yeah. Both of them are very good. Like Father Matthew has been doing it forever since he was young, like 14 years old. And then there's also, I think he wouldn't like me to dox him, but you know who I'm talking about. He's done iconography for you too. And he's way more like into, I don't want to say mystical about it, but he's way more into like the spiritual reality of like, as he's painting, he gets to know the person that he's painting.
It's like reading or anything. Like when I read a saint, or not to the extent the movies. Like I watched the movie on Saint Joseph Hesychast, Saint Nick the Surgeon. I definitely felt I learned more about them for sure. Yeah, even that film that Father Peter, the dean of the cathedral, brought around, made me feel way closer to Saint John. Just one and Saint Nicholas.
Yes,
the Tsar.
Right. Oh yeah, seeing Tsar Nicholas. Yeah, smiling and like. Walking around
being a Chad. I think he'd be okay with that. You wonder. And
how honestly, often he'd look at the cameraman and nod at him. Like, it made me be like, wow, you feel so much more like real. I know he wasn't unreal, but it's like I've seen him.
And I say this with the utmost respect of all the saints. Like he's one that like, I could go and smoke a cigar. You know what I mean? Sure. Like we have all of our saints. We have so many different flavors. And I think God does that on purpose. Sure. Like I would love to sit at the feet of St. John, and there'd be such a, I don't know how to say that nicely. There's such a gap, and not that there isn't a gap with me and Tsar Nicholas, but you just like looking at the videos, like, dude, I would like, if he was at my church, like we would go over to, we'd go and have cigar night, he's just
relatable, right? Yeah.
Yes.
To even though he's
a saint
and a czar.
Yes. To the you look at him and I don't know. It's film. Yeah. But you feel connected to him. Yeah. For some reason, like, and you wouldn't think that. I don't feel connected to Donald Trump. I don't feel connected to Napoleon. I don't feel connected to Leonidas. But when I saw, it's so weird how. Yeah, and I mean, I know he's a polarizing person for a lot of places, not for us.
Sure, not for us.
Yeah. But you're right that watching those, it moves you. Yeah. And Grand Duchess Elizabeth, the whole family.
Oh yeah, seeing her, like, that was cool because she's
an angel.
Yeah. And her in her monastic habit, walking, like, that was really amazing.
Yeah.
Seeing her. Yeah.
All white.
Yeah. Video footage of her. Yeah. That's amazing. Like there is something, and it is cool because as time goes on, like we're going to have a lot more videos and
you've seen well with Elder Ephraim, there's a picture of him at Walmart.
Oh yeah. Right.
He's like there
he's pushing the cart.
Yes,
yeah. Just that sort of thing. Or you have, obviously Father Seraphim Rose. He's not, neither of them are officially canonized yet, but
did I say saint?
But yeah,
blessed.
And was that? Yeah.
Did I say saint? Sorry.
Oh, well,
if I did,
a quick story. I feel comfortable sharing this about Elder Ephraim. So my godson, who's the deacon, he prays a lot for people who have left the church. And he accidentally, just slip of the tongue, he does ask like Elder Ephraim to pray, and he accidentally called him Saint Ephraim. And then the next day, the guy he was praying for came to church. And then he was like, so then he went and prayed again and is like, Saint Ephraim, pray to God for this man. And then the next week after that guy came back to church, and he's just like, okay, I got to tell people. So apparently he's a great help for those who have left the church, like to bring them back. So yeah.
Elder Ephraim, pray to God for us.
Yeah.
We didn't chat much about him.
No, he's a spiritual child of Saint Joseph the Hesychast, who's another great saint. Speaking of the different flavors of saints, Saint Joseph is really interesting to me because by all accounts that I've read about him, he was a really difficult, and strict person to live with. Yeah,
we chatted that he would just tell you your sins.
Yeah, he would call you by your sins instead of even your name. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not even going to say some of the stuff.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not go there.
People.
Yeah, but and then how he would there's a book called Monastic Wisdom, and it's all a collection of letters that Saint Joseph sent to his spiritual children. But there's a couple of there's an introduction and a foreword and stuff in the book. Normally I skip those because I go by I read a lot of history, and I don't want my mind sources to get
because they'll say they
try to prime you for the material, but they can poison the well, right? But in this case, it's one of the forewords is written by Elder Ephraim. So I read it, and that was really interesting because he talks a lot about he one of the lines, if I can quote, I don't know if I'm quoting it perfectly, but he says he was difficult to he was very difficult to live with, but if you obeyed him, he would make you holy. Wow. So it's he was a very, very strict, very tough person. How they would do these all-night vigils, and he would sit behind them and watch them, make sure they're not going to fall asleep on their feet. And
so one of our priests,
his cane on the ground.
Funny, one of our priests met him in Docks, and he how do I say this? I won't say he was skeptical, but he's like, I went in there and I was for an all-night vigil or whatever, and Elder Ephraim was there, and he's like, I wanted to see. And he's like, he stood through the whole, and again, he was not young, right? So he died in 2019 at 91. And this was not, he was not a spring chicken when our priests saw him, participating, and
but
showing
he stood
up
for the whole service. He's an Athonite, right? So,
funny thing about St. Joseph is, and for those who don't know, because he reposed, I think in 60, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think because St. John reposed 66, in the 60s.
I think between 62 and 66, because then they bought him up in, I think it was 66, St. John Maximovich. St. Joseph reposed, I think he was very young. He was 60 something, I think. Right.
Young for
Elder Ephraim was the youngest of, I think, the 5 disciples.
Yeah. Right.
And so he lived to be 91. So if you do the math, 90, I feel like, and someone again will correct me, but one of the things that St. Joseph is very popular for is bringing back that monastic to Mount Athos.
He revivified a lot.
He was in the wilderness pulling the St. Anthony fighting. And it's funny, one of his quotes is he and I don't know again how noetic prayer, and we chat about perfection. Sure. I think the general term for noetic prayer is that you get to the point where you're literally the Jesus prayer is just in your heart.
Yeah. It's self-activating prayer.
You're not
your
even
heart prays. You don't have to kick it off.
It's literally like your heartbeat, because they teach you you're breathing with your breath, and then hits your heart. But it's funny. He has a quote, and I think his thing is, one, I think he said he struggled against fornication for 10 years. Yeah. To the point where he saw physical demons attack him.
Right.
And then, but I feel like he is talking about some of this. He's like, you can get noetic prayer. It's pretty easy. You just go out into the wilderness for 6 months.
Yeah.
He was kind of talking about, it took me a while, but I didn't know what I was doing. He goes, this is the formula. It's like, if you really want noetic prayer, 6 months.
Yeah.
Just go struggle for 6 months in the wilderness. You know?
Yeah.
So just to kind of give you a background of St. Joseph, and then Elder Ephraim being one of his youngest disciples.
Yeah.
Right. To be at the foot of a guy like that who, many miracles, revivified most of the Holy Mountain. Almost all the monasteries have some form of reverence, whether he was there helping them. Yeah. Same thing with Elder Ephraim, setting up and getting the monasteries going. Yeah. And
Elder Ephraim's is great apostle in a way to America, founding all these monasteries. Our country desperately needs the monastic life, and so the more of that we can get, the better. Yeah.
I forget what his number is. 20. I think it's at least in the teens. With Canada, I think it's over 20 monasteries that Elder Ephraim helped seed and set up. And his relics are in
Arizona.
In Florence. With St. Joseph's skull is there too.
Yeah. Right.
So
his spiritual fathers were there with him.
That's well, and then he reposed. The other thing that's it's funny with St. Joseph, he actually reposed on Dormition.
Right.
Which is funny. Yeah. With the way the calendar works for us, the Athenites, they're on the old calendar. Yeah. Which is my birthday. Yeah. So nice. I'm spoiled that my birthday is. It was funny when I switched the calendars. I was like, oh, I think I like this calendar more because my birthday celebrated on St. Joseph's repose and the Mother of God's, Dormition. So that was funny. And then with Elder Ephraim, I think his repose is today. And what's funny is that's kind of I think that was his main monastery, like where after he seeded everything, he was in Arizona a lot, which is after St. Anthony the Great. And then they have another chapel to St. Nicholas. And he reposes the day after St. Nicholas, which is also,
that's cool.
Yeah. So Elder Ephraim, pray to God and St. Joseph.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Any other closing thoughts on Nativity? We're coming up on that 2-hour mark.
Yeah. I think, a big thing that's important, at least for myself, something I always try to stress to my kids whenever Nativity comes around is like, let's really talk about what this means.
What does this mean?
Like, well, yeah, but like of God becoming man, like the incarnation, why that is like the beginning of our freedom in a lot of ways from death.
Yep.
Because at this point, like God unites himself to humanity, right? And but like trying to help my kids, again, it's hard to break that down in ways that kids can understand, but it's hard
enough for us to break it.
Yeah, it's hard enough for grownups to understand too. But trying to make sure that it's not just like, yay, baby Jesus. It's like, no, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about how powerful this is, how much love God gave to I love all those. There's all these beautiful hymns in the church of what is it? It's like he who is can't be contained is wrapped in swaddling clothes. He is held. He who holds all the heavens in his hands is held in the arms of his mother.
Yeah.
Right. Just all of this. How can you understand God, the author of all things, deciding to enter into his creation as you,
similar things,
to save nature. This condescension, this infinite humility, and the love that drives all of it is very important. So that's, I think, a good thing to reflect on this time of year. Yeah.
And then the fulfillment then in Pascha, it's the beginning of the end,
right?
For the devil.
Yeah, exactly. This master stroke
that
just cuts it all down. Yeah.
Because the one I think about, I know there are a couple, the uncircumscribed became circumscribed,
right?
I think, right. And then the Pascha hymn is the one I want. What he who hung the earth.
Oh,
the waters is hung on.
Oh yeah, dude. The Holy Friday hymns. Oh, I can't sing this without choking up. Yeah. He is suspended on the tree. He who suspends
the earth upon the waters.
The earth upon the waters. He was transfixed with nails. He was the son of the Virgin, right?
Which we did. We could a little bit about the Christmas tree, because it's interesting.
Oh yeah,
right. The tree,
yes,
is the cause of participates or is a tool in the fall. Right. So you have a couple things. One, you have that natural God-made tree,
right,
and the fruit is from that. We participated in wrongfully causes our human nature to fall, and then we take a tree, make it wrongfully into the cross, and then put the Savior, put God on it, and then he's redeemed. So the tree is a significant, right? Not only, and then like you're saying that the pagans would use it as
to try to ward off evil spirits. Like one is this is that thing where people go, oh, the Christmas tree is a pagan thing. It's like, well, what they would do is they would cut boughs off the trees, the evergreen trees, because they considered them sacred because they.
And that's another thing, evergreen.
Yeah,
they survive the winter and the
exactly.
frost.
They are untouched by death, right?
Yes.
So they would cut the boughs down and hang them up on the inside of their house to try and ward off evil spirits.
And there are medicinal things to pine needle. Like, you go into the water, like literally it down regulates. I won't even get into cytokines. Like, there's definitely essential oils in there that actually are beneficial.
Yeah, it's actually good for you and stuff. Like there's a natural side to this on top of just the spiritual stuff that's going on. And so then the pagans are like, think about that. Like the Christians encounter these like Germanic pagans, and it's like, okay, what do they believe? Like they're scared of evil, and they believe that this evergreen tree wards it off. How do we use that to teach them the gospel of like, well, like the tree is evergreen, it's untouched by death. This is how they're able to talk about Christ to them, like this tree that you revere, like he died and conquered death, right? And that's also like, they didn't cut down an entire evergreen tree and bring it into their house. Like that's the Christian tradition that's different from what they were doing, right? And it's the idea that like you have to welcome Christ in
to your house,
to be into your house, and then they'd put lights on the tree, right? Back then, which is always crazy to me, is they would
light
it was candles, and then gifts and like decorate it, put gifts under it. This whole idea of like this is like the source of all of light, of life, of treasure and good things is Christ, right? So it's, and then of course there is, like you said, there's that saying of like, anytime Christians see a piece of wood in the Old Testament, they call it a cross. It's like, well, most of the time it is one though. Like Moses throwing the piece of wood into the bitter water that turns it sweet, right? It's like, what is that a symbol of? Like so there's so much, like you see that a lot of these traditions are Christians taking the symbols that were important to pagans and using them to point them towards Christ.
Well, let's go backwards. I think too, a lot of times we would make like Christ the eternal Tao. It's like there is some truth in that the people can see, and it's just used wrong and bridged wrong. Like all these things like sex and money and our profession, and there's a reason we want to feel connected and have a house, and there's a reason that we can see beauty, right? And that's where pagans usually go wrong, where they're worshiping the creation, like the moon is beautiful and it will affect us, and the sun affect you. Literally, the sun hits your eyes, it shuts down your melatonin, it does things to you, but the creator of the universe is who put those things in place, and that's why, like, who the sun sets free is free indeed. Like, these things have impact on us, but Christ has the ultimate impact on us.
Christ made all these things.
And so when you look at, you're afraid of these demons, and you're using this tree, like that's kind of what the New Age, like there are medicinal parts of it, but you realize from the topological, it's like, no, it's actually the tree is a metaphysical, metaphorical representation of the gospel, right? And that's how, like, you think about, like, the saints and the fathers live their whole lives, like they can do that with anything, like water. That's the baptism, right? Like there's just this constant meditation, and isn't that what we do every day? We have the icons around our house, we're living the church, we're participating in these things. There's no other way for it to be. And you see that with the pagans, they're doing the same thing. They're trying to get to God,
right?
And they have some pieces that are right, and it's like your kids when they're like playing, it's like, well, you're doing this right, but, and you go, well, that's a pagan. It's like, no, like this is how the universe is.
Right. This is the structure of reality. As if like, just because something, especially when a lot of the time people say that this thing is pagan, and what they mean is that pagans have also done something with this thing.
Sure.
And it's like, sure, but that doesn't mean, oh, well, this is actually not worshiping Christ.
Yeah.
All creation points to Christ.
Yeah. They eat, they have sex, they go to sleep. Oh, you're a pagan, you sleep.
Yeah.
You sleep, oh,
pagan sleep.
Yeah. You worship on Sunday. Oh, you're on Thursday.
Yeah.
You took a breath on Thursday, you're praising Thor.
Yeah,
it's like,
sure. And this kind of
okay,
silliness.
Yeah. So, Yeah, it's about orientation, and I get it. We live in a world where people want you confused and upside down.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
Any other thoughts until our next episode?
Let's see.
So what we got. We have Theophany coming up, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go through Nativity, God willing, whatever the world has and the Lord has in store for us, and make it there. You know. Yeah. So what do we have to look forward on the church calendar until then, right? So we'll go through Nativity and then
Nativity and Theophany, and sorry. Well, Lent is coming sooner than we think.
No, always.
Always.
That's the meme.
Yeah.
So enjoy Theophany.
Yeah, enjoy that time, because it's going to come up, and then I'm excited. Honestly, I've gotten to the point. I've been Orthodox. This next spring it'll be 10 years since I was baptized, and I actually get to where I really am stoked about Lent. Yes, it's hard, but it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's the winter arc.
Yeah, it's
Have
the
you
winter.
seen that?
Yeah,
like it's a thing in guys where it's like it's
the
winter. It's time
David
to work
Goggins
hard.
thing.
Yeah,
the winter arc.
Yeah, it's the winter arc for.
Yeah.
Well, I would say they stole it from us.
Yeah,
the winter arc is Lent.
Yeah, it's Lent. Yeah, you're doing the big cut before you can. I don't know. Get back to bulking, do a show, whatever. Get your. But
it's just getting locked. The ultimate lock in.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
Lent.
but for your soul.
Yes.
So even more important than just your physique or whatever.
Yeah.
It's true. So I'm excited for it, even though it's like it's going to be tough. Like it always is.
Yep.
But
that's why we want it.
Right. But it's like struggle well, and this little, the Nativity fast is about as long-ish as Lent, but it's way more relaxed. We get a lot of fish days. We get a lot so enjoy that, and prepare yourself for Lent.
Amen. Yeah. And enjoy your family.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Christ
Happy
is
feast.
born.
Yeah. Feast of St. Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Until next time.
Yeah. Stay vigilant. God bless.